Yo, what is going on, people? Got the one and only legendary Emperor BitCoin, the king of Neptune's pride.
I've never even
Daniel
played that.
Krawisz.
I'm just interested in playing it.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I went a little bit off topic there, but how you doing, Daniel? It's nice to see you today.
Thanks. Good to see you again too, Andres, and thanks for having me on again.
Anytime.
And I'm excited for what we're going to talk about today.
Me too. Me too. Bitcoin investment strategy. That's always uh, something good to know about, good to learn about. And we are talking
Yeah.
about BSV here. Now, we're not talking BTC, right?
Yes. Bitcoin means BSV, which is the real Bitcoin, and that is the one crypto coin that follows the security model that's described in the Bitcoin white paper. And it also derives from the Bitcoin Genesis block. So that's why we say that it's the real Bitcoin.
Okay.
And the rest don't work. Even though they appear to work, they're all going to fail eventually. Whereas the real Bitcoin is Byzantine fault tolerant, which means that no matter who tries to break it, other people will step in and fix it. So it's anti-fragile, and don't just take my word for it. Think about economics yourself.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the chat from on top of OBS because I'll be able to actually see it since you're sharing screen. Go ahead, take the floor, Cosmos. It's all you.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about Bitcoin investment strategy, and you should probably. Well, could you link me to the YouTube
Of course,
video
yes.
so I can see if any
Mhm.
questions come up, and tell me if you notice any questions
Of
as
course,
well,
yes.
because we can take questions at any time.
Yes, I'll be keeping a good eye out on chat. I'm gonna put it in your Discord right now. The link to the it's studio. Sorry, hold on, wrong link. Share link, copy, and you should have it in just a few moments. All right, it should be this link that I'm sending to you right now. All right, perfect.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
And turn the volume off. Okay, here we go. So, Bitcoin. So, to me, investment strategy is the most important thing to talk about. Oh, and by the way, for viewers, you got to go back and watch the previous time I was on InTheBox, because we talked about the theory of money, and that's very important for Bitcoin investment strategy, because you have to understand the nature of what you're investing in, and well, if you don't, then you don't know when to buy it. So, so investment strategy is the most important thing to talk about. But curiously, people in Bitcoin don't, well, they talk a lot about, number go up, and they talk a lot about, trading and charts and stuff. But I don't think people talk very much about investment strategy. Um, and I think that people are promoting things that they want you to get invested in, instead of talking about strategies that are good for everybody. You know what I mean? So the first thing to talk about is that this is not investment advice, despite what the title of the presentation may have led you to believe.
So what are you telling me? This is clickbait?
No, we have to say that for legal
I
reasons.
like that.
So what this means is I am not putting myself in a position where I am liable for money that you lose doing stuff that I talked about. So what I'm talking about is what I think is good. They're my uh, um, my opinions are my own. So you have to evaluate them and determine if you think they're good. And when or if you decide to if you decide my advice is good, well, if you decide what I tell you about strategy is good, then it's your responsibility if you act on it. And this isn't just a good idea for legal reasons, but the first rule of investing is if you're wrong, you lose. So it's your responsibility to be right and think for yourself.
That's a big
So
thing nowadays, not just an investment, right? I mean, that's like something that a lot of people are finally starting to wake up to, is they are starting to think for themselves. So if you're starting to think for yourself, you're in the right spot right now.
yeah, I hope so. And well, I think that it seems like lots of people are not aware of not thinking for themselves and are not aware of the problem. And the problem is if you're just listening to somebody else, if you're just doing whatever he says, he can tell you to do things that are good for him and bad for you. And it's only if you think about the real consequences of your actions that you will realize that he's saying something that's good for him and bad for you. So and so you have to you like, if you are not thinking for yourself, then you can be exploited. And so I have a quote from The Prince by Machiavelli here.
Hmm.
A prince should allow only wise advisors to speak with him, and only when he specifically requests their advice. So so you need to be active in your in the way that you collect information. You need to be the active party. A prince should not listen to anyone else and should be firm in his decisions. Vacillation will lead to a loss of respect. A prince must always seek advice, but he must seek it only when he wants it, not when others thrust it upon him. Most important, a prince must always be skeptical about the advice he receives. constantly questioning and probing. If he ever discovers someone is concealing the truth from him, he must punish that person severely. In the end, no matter how intelligent a prince's advisors might be, a prince is doomed if he lacks intelligence of his own. So remember that. That's the most important part.
That's some pretty powerful lines right there.
Yeah. So, and I think that the so anyway, back to this not being investment advice. I think that there's an inherent problem with anyone who is uh, giving investment advice in a way that is uh, that's like in a way that's like a service, like like a like an investment firm that takes control of your money and charges a fee, and they're going to earn profit for you, and then they charge a fee off of that. So they do give you investment advice, and the problem with that is if their ideas were really good, they would just keep it for themselves. See what I mean? Like, it just doesn't, like, the way that you earn profit is superior planning. And remember that was
All
in
right, in the
the
theory of
last,
money.
yeah, that was in my, we talked about that on my last appearance.
Yep.
So um like, if you're charging a fee to earn profit for somebody else, that's really saying that you don't have superior planning. So I think that there's an inherent problem uh, with having somebody invest for you. And really, the only time, like, that's not literally always bad. Like, it could be that you get rich quick and you've never had money before, and you need someone to help you, but you pretty much need to learn how to handle your own money quickly, I think, or else you won't have it for very long. So remember, no matter how intelligent a prince's advisors might be, a prince is doomed if he lacks intelligence of his own. So I think that you need to learn to take charge of your own money
And
and
I
not let.
also like the title to that line. I think it says something to the effect of how to avoid flatterers. So there's even more
Yeah,
behind it. Like I guess that goes more to the point of where it says, uh, don't go for advice unless you truly want it or need it, right? Like avoid
yeah,
asking for too much advice because then you're always gonna get flattered, especially in the position that you're in. So does that make sense
y-
at all? I
yeah.
don't know if I'm reading that correctly or understanding it correctly, but I guess that's what it sounds like to me. So like only get advice if you really, really need it and work off of your own uh information after you seek the advice previously or whatever the case is. Don't keep going asking for the same advice
Well,
or whatever the case
Well,
is.
he doesn't say don't get advice. He says you should always seek advice, but you need to be the active agent in collecting your information. So you need to ask. You need to be the one asking the questions,
Correct.
not the one waiting for somebody else to tell you what to do. And if that's not who you are, then you probably won't have your money for very much longer. So thinking for yourself means you can be wrong, or everyone can be wrong, or everyone else can be wrong, and you can be the only one who is right. Um, so, and look for anything that could prove you wrong. so if you want to be right, which is your job, if you're investing, you need to want to be proven wrong. Um, and so people have psychological biases that are against being wrong. So people feel bad about being wrong. So you have to, uh, if you want to be able to have money, you have to not think that way. You have to want to be proven wrong, like a scientist, because you want to know that you're wrong before your mistake is too costly. So you want
Almost
to be
kind of like
wrong
letting
early
go of
and
your
often.
ego, right? Like
Excuse
not
me?
almost like not having too big of an ego, right? Like being able to
Right.
know when you're wrong and accepting it.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. And ego is, yeah, ego in general is something that prevents uh, prevents you from seeing reality. And if you're an investor, your job is to know reality. So if somebody else is telling you what reality is, then you're not doing your job. Well, we already talked about that. Um, so I have some book recommendations. So I'll just write them in here. Forgot to put them in here, but
It's all right. Take your time.
these are
We're here just hanging out, chilling. We got plenty of time. Got a bunch of people in the chat. We have TK actually. I read some of these chats to you. We got Peter V that says, "What's up? What's up, Cosmos? How you doing, buddy?"
doing good. So these books go along with the theme of what I was just talking about, and the I should also recommend.
Got TK in the house as well that says, "Good stuff on investing and advice seeking. It applies to every aspect of life."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that yeah. To me, investment is like applied philosophy, and it's sort of uh, like thinking about investment really is the same way you think about having a good life. Um, and uh, this the same kind of thinking that you would have to uh,
Almost like we
ensure
do
that you're happy.
every New Year's resolution, we kind of invest in ourselves, right? It's like a
Yeah,
New Year's resolution is like an investment in yourself on the New Year's, and we hope to try to keep that investment, right? So that would be like you're hoping to do the superior planning in a maybe certain type of aspect of your life, whether it's working out or whatever the case is, right?
yeah. So these books go along with the theme of everyone else can be wrong and you can be the only one who is right. So when investment decisions have to do with planning for the future, superior planning. If you make money off investing, you had superior planning. And people can be very wrong about the future. And
Yes.
a lot of people do not think independently very much, and they kind of agree with what everybody else around them thinks. And so that means that there can be a consensus about the future that's completely wrong because people don't really know the future very well. That's kind of like the most difficult thing to think about. So, the official story on the future doesn't really need to have any correspondence to reality. Um, And so, if you're an independent thinker, you can be in situations where everyone else is wrong and you're the only one who is right. And so that's kind of a difficult situation to be in, speaking from experience. Um, and but like it's you wouldn't want to just agree with other people if you're going to lose money doing it. In fact, when you're in this situation, that's when you make the most money because it's on superior planning, right? That's how you make money. So if everybody else is wrong, then you really have superior planning. So about these books, really quick, The Driver is a book that Ayn Rand copied to write Atlas Shrugged, and it's about a man who is who sees profit opportunities in a railroad, and he's an investor, and he's trying to buy up enough of it to realize his idea, and nobody else believes that his plan makes sense. And Satan's Bushel is about speculating on grain, and it's a similar kind of story. It's kind of about a man um, who is able to understand future prices, and all around him is kind of uh, illusions of people who don't know the future very well. And the Fountainhead isn't about buying stuff or buying investments, but it's about a person that most people don't believe in for a while, but he he knows that his own creations are superior, and eventually people look silly if they disagree with him. So and these books all really help me out in Bitcoin, um, because and this is something that I've had to deal with a lot, is basically everybody that I know telling me that I'm an idiot when
You're
I
a
know that
genius
what?
when you're actually a genius.
Well, well, really, I know that I'm right and they're wrong, um, and this has been going on since I got into Bitcoin. Because when I first got into Bitcoin, I was trying to tell everybody else that Bitcoin is a great idea, and everybody else thought it was stupid. And then within Bitcoin, we eventually had the core cult take over. So I was trying to tell all of those guys that small blocks are the dumbest idea that you could possibly imagine, but they they were all brainwashed into believing in
And
small blocks.
how many years ago was
So,
this?
well, I got into Bitcoin in 2011, and the core cult started started really taking over around 2016 or so, and it culminated in the splits in Bitcoin. And I mean, it was really tough because for a long time there really wasn't anyone that I could have a real conversation about these topics, because people would usually try to argue with me before I could even explain what I wanted to say, or just didn't want to listen. And well, I mean, I always had a very good idea about what money is, but other people have I would say that there are many agendas in Bitcoin that depend on people not knowing what it is, or at least being being distracted by ideas that are not as good as Bitcoin. Excuse me, because you can, in the short term, you can make money by getting people to speculate on something that doesn't make sense.
True.
So remember, from theory of money, profits come from superior planning. So it's kind of your job to know more than other people. That's your bread and butter, knowing more than other people. So it's not just about knowing a lot, it's about knowing more. And so you don't follow the herd, lead the herd. If you're following the herd, you can't make money. So you shouldn't do that. And the way that you lead the herd is you figure out where the herd is going to be and you go there. So you predict the future, and you do what other people have to imitate. And so when I say the herd, remember from theory of money that money is an investment in other people. So the herd is the other people that you're invested in when you have Bitcoin. So the other Bitcoin profit seekers. And so Bitcoin is a Bitcoin future prediction contest. Because if you know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, then you get to buy a lot more stuff with Bitcoin later on.
That makes sense.
So this next one is on being a contrarian. So now there's smart money and there's dumb money. So smart money is sort of doing this kind of stuff, trying to be ahead, and the dumb money doesn't know that they're supposed to be ahead. So they're always following, and because of that, there's this inherent over investment that's kind of always going on in the market, because the dumb money is always doing what was a good idea a couple years ago, and it's a bad idea now because there's too many people doing it. So remember, it's always about knowing more and about being ahead. So, but most people don't seem to be aware of being behind. So consequently, um, there's a lot of people making mistakes all the time because they're not really thinking about being ahead. If everybody was kind of playing this game well, then it wouldn't make sense to be a contrarian. But given that most people are playing it badly, um,
Kind of play against them.
whatever is sort of like popular at the moment, there's a overlooked opportunity in just doing the opposite. So if everybody is happy, you should be depressed, and if everybody else is depressed, you should be happy.
So
Kind
right
of like that.
now, America should be ecstatic.
Oh yes.
Oh,
So yeah. So well, I mean, I'm kind of expecting things to get a lot worse than they are now already. But yeah, you should buy when there's blood in the streets. So at peak craziness and peak depression, you should plan to be ready to buy up a lot at that point, and that's not investment advice. Remember?
that's yeah, that's like that's pretty much buying the dip, right? Essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so yeah, so people say like buy low, sell high, and it's easy to say, but it's hard for people to be that independent, to kind of be a person who can be happy when everyone else is unhappy, or who can be depressed when everyone else is happy. Um, And but it's kind of necessary to once. I mean, if you just take the idea that it's your superior knowledge that matters, it's really only it's only when you're different from other people that you can possibly do anything good. But people have a natural psychology that makes them want to go along with everyone else. But you can't make money when you're doing that. You can't make money investing when you're doing that. You can make money like with a job or something, of course. So next, time. Over a long enough time, everyone is insane because there's a limit to how far you can plan. So over time spans that are longer than your ability to plan, you act insane.
Hmm.
And but if you can plan farther ahead than other people, or I should say, the farther ahead you can plan,
Without
the
going
fewer
insane.
competitors. Excuse me.
The farther you could plan ahead without going insane, right? I guess.
Yeah. Well, you want to increase the time the time span over which you are sane. And if you can do that, you have fewer competitors because that there's the longer ahead you can plan, the more people who are just acting insane over that time period. And they're not your competitors anymore at that point. So there's lots of short-term thinking, like with trading. Um, but trading is difficult and risky because lots of people are thinking about it. So there's um, there's there's stiffer competition over the short term and over the long term.
Okay.
And but if you can have if you can focus on delayed gratification, and if you can plan out farther, then you can rely more on economics than on the momentary fads, which are a lot more difficult to predict. And there's less risk because there's less competition. So um, Warren Buffett said that the stock market is a means of transferring money from the impatient people to the patient people, or something like that. So if you can be patient, then you're in a better position. Okay, so that was all stuff on just investment in general. So now we're on to Bitcoin specifically. So in order to talk about Bitcoin investment strategy, um, we need to talk about Bitcoin in theory. Like what is it good for, and how does it benefit you? Because that's how you would make investment decisions. So go back and watch the last time it was on, the theory of money.
I'll put a
But
link of that in the description for everybody.
we'll quick talk about why Bitcoin is better for profit seeking. Um, so remember what you learned in that discussion is that money is an investment in the other profit seekers. So money is like a group of people who are all invested in each other. And that's what's great about it. And Bitcoin is a better way for people to invest in each other. You get more out of the other people with Bitcoin than you do with other forms of money. So with Bitcoin, we have a fixed supply, which means no inflation, which means there isn't a parasite on the economy that's constantly taking stuff out of it without doing any work. So that's good. You're more rewarded for your work in Bitcoin. So another thing we have in Bitcoin is hash power, and hash power can function as an overall measure of the size of the economy. That's much better than GDP, because GDP is sort of a well, GDP is a good way of lying about the economy and kind of tricking people into investing in it when really they shouldn't. You can have situations where GDP is going up, but really the economy is being destroyed, and in a few years people won't have as much, won't be producing as much. Or you can have the opposite situation where GDP is going down, but really people are improving the economy so that a few years later they're going to get a lot more. So with hash power, we can't do that as easily. So hash power is kind of like a way of everybody knowing how big the economy is, that can't be faked or lied about. Right now, there's kind of a problem with this because of the subsidy, and well, that's been a huge problem in the whole Bitcoin economy, because so much was focused on acquiring the initial distribution of Bitcoins, that people forgot about planning ahead and making a viable economy for the future. So that's kind of like when we get off the subsidy, these kind of splits like we had in BTC won't be possible anymore, because we can't people can't be surviving just off land grabbing anymore. They'll have to be planning ahead and creating a productive future. So another thing we have is traceability in Bitcoin. And what we can do with that is, if anybody steals Bitcoin or scams people out of it, commits fraud, or does anything bad, um, we can find it's easier to figure out. It's easier to stop them.
Essentially, and
And
it can operate within the law, right?
right, and we can basically expel people from the economy who do bad things, and that's good for all of the profit seekers, 'cause they don't have to. They can just protect each other better with that. So so this is kind of what makes Bitcoin a better money, and these are sort of the reasons that these are sort of the theoretical reasons for that will inform your strategy, right? So strategy, what you're looking for is, when is Bitcoin undervalued or overvalued? So Bitcoin is better when there are more profit seekers, or when there are more profits. In other words, the profit seekers are more successful at profit seeking, or profit seekers are more future oriented. So when people are more future oriented, that means they want to save more. That means that the money is going to be valued more in relation to the goods that currently exist. So these are the conditions that make Bitcoin better. And so if you want to get rich off of Bitcoin, um, you need to know more about these conditions than other people, because it's about superior knowledge. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the basic strategy, and so pretty much um, you don't really need to do anything different from this, I don't think. Um, like I would say, never. I would say you should just basically don't deviate from this, other than under conditions where you know you know something that other people don't. Um, so, for example, if oh well, yeah, let me go back here a bit. Because I up here I should have talked about when we had delist BSV, because that was a really interesting case. So that happened last year. There was this movement among non BSV people to delist BSV from exchanges. And that's an unusual moment.
I think I had
Uh,
kind of caught like the tail end of that, like when I started coming into BSV around July of last year. But I
yeah,
do remember something of that effect, and what's always stuck with me, in my opinion, I always feel like BSV is always censored or shadow banned in some type of a way, and it's not promoted. And I was lucky enough to, in my opinion, find it and find all the great things that go along with it. But yeah, it's great that you're going over the D list a little bit because that interests me a lot.
yeah, okay. Well, so I mean, if you've ever read The Fountainhead, it's amazing how much Bitcoin kind of follows that book. Um, Ayn Rand certainly understood how, or certainly had a good idea about how these collective ideas work. And so, I mean, if you try to prevent information about BSV from getting out, you're not reducing the benefit of BSV at all. All you're doing is um, making it more difficult to pump BSV. But that's not really what we want to do around here, is it? What we want is to increase the real benefit of BSV. So we want to give people actual good reasons to want BSV, not because they're just scammed, or because everybody thinks everybody else is going to be buying up a lot for whatever reason, whether it's good or not. We want to give people rational reasons, and we don't like if you can do that, then you don't really need to pump anything. You can just let other people think for themselves. You can just let other people notice that BSV is good. And so what? And so none of the other crypto coins are doing anything like that. They're all about pumping and dumping, and the rest of the market is all a big cartel between the coins and the exchanges.
Uh huh.
And it's not, and none of that has any reason to exist if any one coin is successful. So they don't want anybody to be successful. They just want to keep siphoning money off of people who are tricked into speculating.
Yeah. And one
People
thing
who
we always talk about on here is that on BSV, we don't ever really, at least the people that I communicate within the BSV community, we don't talk about the price that much. We talk about projects that are being built. We talk about new ways that you can spend and use BSV. It is that's one thing that's in my opinion separates BSV from any other coin, because what good is any other coin for aside from trading?
Yeah. And also, like, that just tells you that people in BSV are honest. Because
Yes.
if people like, there's really no reason to tell each other about the price. Um, and that kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier. Uh, like that, like so on uh, back with Machiavelli. So if everybody's talking about the price, that's kind of like everybody giving each other investment advice all the time, um, without asking for it. You know what I mean? It's like it's everybody manipulating everybody. But if we believe that we're all supposed to think for ourselves, then it's kind of like it's your job to figure out if the price is going up. Like, there's no reason for me to tell you if I think the price is going up,
That is
right? If
such
I think
a
it's going up,
good
I'll just
way
buy
to
more.
put it. That is
Yeah.
such a good I never thought about it that way, but that is such an amazing way to put it. That, and it simplifies it and really makes it understandable.
Oh,
But
well, thanks. Yeah. Well, I mean, Bitcoin is a Bitcoin future prediction contest. So keyword contest, right?
yep,
So we're, um, uh, I want to win the contest. You want to win the contest, and if you're if you're telling other people about price, you're not winning the contest, are you? You're
no,
kind of losing the contest. You're giving away the most important thing you have, which is your superior knowledge. I mean,
hmm,
assuming that that is what you have, but really someone talking too much about the price probably doesn't have superior knowledge, because if they did, they would shut up about it.
holy moly! By the way, we have a couple comments in the YouTubes. We got Martin Adamo saying Ayn Rand wrote The Fountainhead in Stony Creek, Branford, Connecticut, in a home that one of their client owns.
Oh, well, cool.
Null says hashtag delist BSV equals Bitcoin decoupling from the alts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they have to eject anything good because
that
they'll be destroyed by it.
hmm, and Manifestable says have to have long term interests.
Um,
I guess just
I'm
making
not
a
sure what that's
general
in
statement
in
about
relation
having.
to.
We'll find out. There's a little bit of delay, but he's one of my favorite people that's always in the chat, so I'm sure he'll elaborate on that a little bit more. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
me too. Please do.
You got the floor.
Okay, so back to delist BSV. Well, so my point is there's I think that there's a basic strategy that you do not need to deviate from very much. And that strategy is just have a job and buy a fixed dollar amount of Bitcoin, BSV, every week, no matter what happens, and do this for 2 years. And I should actually say, think 2 years ahead. Like, when you start doing this, you should be planning to be able to continue for 2 years. And the reason I say 2 years is there's kind of a 2 year cycle in Bitcoin if you look back over the history, but things are actually quite a bit worse now because we had this cult takeover and we had the splits and everything. So things might be worse than 2 years. But in general, I think that um, a you should think about your actions as uh, taking place over 2 years. Longer if you can manage it. If you can plan for longer than that, that's better. But I would say 2-year minimum. And that's not investment advice, remember. So this is the basic strategy, and it will work great if it is true that Bitcoin will take over and become the world's money. But it's your job to determine whether you think that will happen. But there are also times when when you really do know more than everyone else in the short term. And that's why I brought up delist BSV, because that's kind of a time when the dumb money really distinguished itself. And we had a bunch of people trying to suppress the price of BSV as if that's all that matters, and that's all that matters to them. That's all they know about. And but when you're genuinely creating value, the price in the short term isn't what you care about. And well, in fact, if you can see that people are suppressing the price so badly without destroying the value in any way, then that's kind of great. That's kind of like the perfect time to get in. So I think that there's a basic strategy, and but sometimes, rarely, um, there's times when you know more than everybody else in more of a short term basis. And so um, and uh, that's when you should make a trade. So I think that it's not really viable to try to be a trader all the time, but um, you but there are times when you do want to make a trade, but those happen rarely. Um, and they're not things that it's they happen when you actually have superior knowledge.
Okay.
So here's the more complex strategy that I think is more general. um, and that's be more stable than Bitcoin and lend your stability to it. So that ought to be easy because Bitcoin is ridiculously unstable. But I think that people are easily lured into making bad decisions, and they forget to be stable over longer periods of time. And I think that's ultimately what matters. So remember, I said you should have a 2-year. You should think about your actions as if they take place over 2 years or so. I think
Okay.
like you're moving really slowly.
So kind of
And
like
so
Gary the snail from
yeah,
SpongeBob.
so if you um excuse me, if you need to be able to complete that very long, very slow action.
It's about the
Because if you
journey, man.
can,
It's about the journey,
what?
bro. It's about the journey.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so you need to plan your stability so that you can complete your very, very slow action. And if you can't do that, then what happens is you lose your job or something else bad happens, and then you have to sell at a bad time. So you don't want that to happen. You have to make sure that anything bad that happens to you over your time horizon does not affect your ability to maintain your investment. And if you can do that, then you're more stable than Bitcoin. And if you can lend your stability to Bitcoin without falling apart, then Bitcoin will reward you. And I think that's the basic idea. Um, uh, and as more people do this, then Bitcoin will become more stable. But I don't think Bitcoin will ever be truly stable, but it'll eventually be more stable than it is now.
Well, I remember one Elon Moisty saying one time, I don't, this is not an exact quote, but he said volatility is his business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So make volatility your business and you will be successful.
right. Yeah, you should be able to manage. Yeah, right. So plan what volatility you can manage, and stay stable while it's going on.
I get it.
So buy Bitcoin when you know it's better and other people don't, and you have to wait for everybody to figure it out. And this can be a tedious process because everyone will call you an idiot in the meantime. Now,
That's not
another
too
thing,
hard to take. I've gotten that a few times over the years.
yeah,
I'm used
well,
I'm used to that.
okay, well,
Sticks and stones, man. Sticks and stones.
yeah, yeah. Um, so one thing that I talk about this in my video Homo Bitcoinus, but I think that when we use Boost more, and that's the proof of work protocol that I've been working on, um, will have I think that information that is relevant to the price will be transmitted faster. And so what you can do, and I talk about this in the video, is um, you can uh, like when you have differential knowledge, that's knowledge that you have that other people don't. First, you act on it. So, like you buy Bitcoin or you create a Bitcoin business or something, then you can spend more Bitcoin or you can spend some of what you have now on Boost to tell everybody about your information. And then the rest of your Bitcoin will go up. And that'll happen faster when we can use costly signaling with each other. And make sure nothing bad happens to you. Well, nothing bad enough happens to you during the time interval.
True.
So predict other people, go where the herd will be, or predict yourself, seek profit, and that's basically your two sources of better information is knowing about other people or knowing what you can do. And I think knowing about yourself is a little more reliable. So you should do that all of the time, but sometimes you also know about where the herd's going, and you should use that knowledge also.
Yeah.
And there's my presentation. So that's Bitcoin investment strategy.
This has been some good stuff. I liked how you pulled out Machiavelli. Um, I liked how you've pulled out mystery in the past. You always pull out some really, really cool like people for your presentations there. Um,
Uh, Well, thanks. Yeah. Well, I've just spent a lot of time reading all kinds of different books. So there's all these connections.
yeah, it's you always bring some good stuff. You always bring a big crowd. I'm gonna get to some of these comments in here. Um, got manifestable. I think he kind of wanted to explain himself. He said, "People who are building the Bitcoin economy are creating incentives to create long-term interests and relationships. Long-term
Right.
interest means that lower Bitcoin prices are actually good.
Okay, no, they're not. I mean, they're good if you can, if you know that they're lower so that you can get in and you have more time to buy more. But ultimately, you would not want Bitcoin if the value wasn't going to go up. And you wouldn't want Bitcoin just to buy stuff because you could just you could just get Bitcoin right before you want to buy something with it. So you could have your stock market account and then just get rid of some of that when you're ready to spend Bitcoin. But um, if we're making Bitcoin more valuable, which is what anybody would want if they have Bitcoin, then we're creating the conditions that will eventually drive the price up. But the difference between what we're doing and what the other crypto coins are doing is we're giving people rational reasons
Yep.
to hold Bitcoins. We're not and we're not pumping. So we're letting other people figure out that they have. We're letting other people think about their own reasons. But I don't agree that lower prices are good. They're only good if you have dollars that you haven't used to buy bitcoins yet.
So what? So how does this sound then? Bitcoin being at a low price until the end of the US dollar, then? Would that be good or no?
Um, well, I don't. I mean,
As long as the
it's
dollar's around?
it's only good. It's only good if you're prepared for it. So, um,
That goes back to the superior planning.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The future, who
But
knows what it
prices
holds? Who
prices
knows?
every price is bad for some people and good for other people.
Correct.
But like if you're in Bitcoin, um, you should. It doesn't make sense to be working for lower prices. That's kind of against your own investment.
Correct. Yeah, you would want a lot.
Okay,
You.
well now we can talk about anything.
Oh,
But yeah, thanks for letting me go through that, and I hope
no, no problem.
people enjoyed it.
I I'm sure they did. We had at least 20 people in the chat almost the entire way through. Every time you do your presentations, they're extremely interesting. I love how they're always personalized and you write everything up. You blow it away with those presentations, and you could tell because they're usually the highest viewed videos that we upload here on InTheBox. So we appreciate that, and I can tell you almost with 100% certainty people enjoy it. If you guys enjoy what he's doing, leave a nice little comment in the chat. If you have any questions, he's gonna stick around for a few twetches. And we also had Null
Yeah.
that said, in 3 years, I've only made one good trade. That was when I sold BCH for BSV when everyone said BSV was trash. That may have been the only time I ever had valuable differential knowledge to trade with. So I guess he's saying that was when everybody's trashing BSV. He knew that BSV was not to be trashed and he had that differential knowledge. That's a pretty good comment. So that's a good trade then. In the end, no.
Yeah.
That's an
Well,
amazing
they
trade.
were they were making it easy for everybody. I mean, really, like if they knew something and they knew if they actually knew what they were talking about and they knew that BSV was trash, they would. That's also something that they wouldn't really say. Like
Mhm.
really, like any like knowledge that you have that's better, you really don't want to tell people.
Yep.
Um, and
But do you
Null
want to
says, "Thank
trash
you,
it at this
Daniel." So you're welcome.
do you want to be deceptive though? Is that like a plan of attack? Is that strategic warfare? Economical
Um,
strategic warfare by deceiving people on what the right choice is? Or does that just come down to a morals thing?
Well, I think that Bitcoin, all of the capital markets are kind of like a poker game, and uh, I think that people who play poker are friendly with one another, even though they do deceive one another.
Yes.
And so I don't think that deception is always bad. I mean, I guess I would say that if you're defrauding people, then yes, that is bad.
Correct.
But
Yeah. That goes
um,
back to law and stuff like that, right? But what if
I
it's
don't.
borderline, like it's not against the law and you're deceiving people on purpose
Well,
about BSV, for example, and telling them it's bad, 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 but on the back end you're buying it, you're buying it, you're buying it because you know it's gonna
yeah, I
blow
think that
up.
that's fine. I mean, I don't think you can blame somebody for doing that. I mean, I think that there's kind of a problem with having relationships if people know that you did that.
Uh-huh.
But like, I don't think that it's evil to say that to say BSV is bad so that you can buy more later. Like to me, that's sort of that's that's a perfectly reasonable strategy,
You
I
heard
think.
it here first. This is not investment advice, okay?
Right? Yeah.
Manifestival, what's up, brother? I miss you.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
This is like
Daniel,
evil
But
first of
genius.
all, it's another really great talk.
I mean, I guess I prefer an environment where people are just kind of keeping like if you're playing with people who are savvy, then like they'll suspect a trick whether you're saying something is good or bad. So I think that it's kind of a better just to be around people who aren't saying anything. And so that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about not talking about price. Because if we were all trying to deceive each other and say that BSV was bad so that we could buy more, that's kind of like treating everybody else like idiots as well. Like it's the same similar to if we were all telling each other that everybody was gonna buy it and it was gonna go way up. You know what I mean? Like if it's like you should prefer people that
Well,
that kind of deception won't work on. You know what I mean? And then nobody has a reason to talk about price.
and in some ways, Daniel, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly,
Yeah.
man.
In some ways, I think this relates to some of the constant, especially with regards to what Connor was talking to you about with regards to receiving payment for information. Like proof of work is like a scenario that you're describing where people aren't creating like a feedback loop with each other where they're creating a narrative that repeats itself among like a select group that sort of is I think the type of narrative that you create when you set payments for content, because then if you're getting payment for content, like let's just say there was a question that was on Twetch the other day that was like, are you really trying to tell me that $1,000 worth of proof of work is more valuable than $1,000 to directly open a a Baymail or something like that? And I think that this really the question at the heart of this gets directly to what people's focus is. Like if you're just trying to crack the nut and eat, or crack the shell and eat like the snail right away, like then yes, just opening the email, you get to suck the escargot out of the shell and you get the $1,000 and you get immediate satisfaction about that. It like immediately, like it's the immediate psychic reward, like to use
Right.
the term from BitCoin Homo Bitcoinist. You get an immediate reward, which is limited to $1,000. It can never be more than that, right? Like,
Yeah.
but the $1,000 with a proof of work is setting the table for a scenario that can be so much more valuable than $1,000, but people just don't recognize that for some reason because they're just constantly tuned to the present instead of the future, you know?
Yeah, I think it's kind of yeah, I mean, I think it's weird to me how people struggle with the idea of payments for receiving an email. And it's kind of like if you are going to demand money to receive an email, I just wouldn't send you that email. It's like, well, let's give this some context because what I've been talking about with some people lately is the idea of proof of work as a spam filter. And so we've been arguing about whether a payment is a better spam filter than proof of work. And I say that proof of work is the best spam filter because proof of work aligns the interests of both the sender and the receiver. So, um, if you have a difficulty target for receiving an email, the sender can reasonably expect that you will read the email if he meets your target because you just wouldn't set the target at a level where you were getting email that you didn't want to read. So if you were doing that, you would just set it higher because you would save time by doing that. But that isn't the case with payments. So a payment will eliminate or the a excuse me, a requirement to pay somebody to send them an email will eliminate spammers, but it will also eliminate people who don't want you to pocket the money and not read the email. And so I had this interesting conversation with Connor recently called Why Should I Use Boost on his show, Bitcoin and Beyond. And it was really kind of weird because it really seemed like he wanted money so badly that he couldn't see the problem. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I think that's that's you know, part of the inability to have a long-term focus. And my question in the chat was about, when I said that the price of BSV going down is if you're continuing the process that you described of having a job and putting a set amount in per week, then when the price goes up, it just inflates your it's like a psychic reward for your own, it reminds you that you're succeeding, because the price is telling you that you're succeeding.
Yeah.
But if your long-term strategy is just to accumulate more of the price, more of the coin, and the means that you have to accumulate that coin is dollars, then it's actually beneficial to you, even though you feel psychically like shit because you're like, oh, my investment is going down. I'm dumb. Everyone else is smarter than me. But in actuality, you're getting a better reward because everyone disagrees with you. So if you have differential knowledge that relates specifically to that, then then protracted over a long enough time, you're going to have a reward that exceeds the initial psychic reward. And I think that people that are focused on the payment that they get from the email are very much focused on the immediate application of that payment, right? They're not focused on the long-term the protracted value that you can get from something that that would, like you said, not avoid just paying you for an email. So you won't get an email from Daniel Krawisz, and like an email from Daniel Krawisz can be more valuable than just the $5 threshold that you set. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well,
so
yeah, then yeah, we agree, because that's basically what I said when I was responding to your comment. And
right.
yeah, it's the people who say that they think payments are better don't seem to understand the idea that people have a choice about whether to send them an email. So I've heard this from a few people. They say, like, well, I will be much more likely to read your email if you send me a payment with it. And well, that's not, I mean, that's not, first of all, that's not really true, because we can show you can show that economically. Like, the optimal price to receive an email will always leave some emails unread, because you get more money if you solicit more emails. Whereas the optimal proof of work level will not leave any emails that are unread. And second, um, someone who understands that problem just wouldn't send you an email. Like, they just wouldn't try to attract your attention. So yeah, people seem to talk about this like I have no choice but to try to get their attention. But
Right, which is kind of like the buying the dinner, like the buying
right, yeah.
philosophy that you discussed.
Yeah, in the video I showed a picture of the book, The Mystery Method, which is about how to seduce women. And yeah, the book says you're not supposed to buy women dinner, you're supposed to use negging. So I said that payments for receiving an email are like buying dinner, whereas proof of work is like negging. And I love stuff like that, because it's like it I just think it's really funny. It's almost like it's like an argument that's just absurd to have.
I mean, it's not just absurd to have. I think what's really absurd is like using it to as a proof of the value of proof of work. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But at the same time, proof of work is protracted from biological signals. So proof of work is obviously a different. Like there's entirely different networks of information that apply to proof of work that apply to mating. But at the same time, in both cases, you are better off relying on information that is like more reliable over an adversarial channel. So it actually really correlates with each other. And actually, most people have a real practical understanding about the truth that is represented in the concept of not buying dinner versus negging. And even if you just look at it besides just the point of dating and stuff like that, like if you just think about it, if you are like pining for attention, like you're much less likely to get the attention that you need than if you are just, you know, um, like confident in terms of your own strategy, and so the whole concept is with mating is that because there's males and females, metaphorically speaking, whereas the male is the sender of the signal and the female is the receiver of the signal, like you have that in business too. Like you can be a male in business, but be a female in terms of receiving a signal from another corporation or something like that.
right.
So it just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there is a correlation, but what's funny about it, or not just a correlation, a correspondence, really. Like, I think it's really talking about the same kind of issue, just in a different. That it's just that the message is a little bit different, but it's the same
Right.
kind of incentives. And the reason that it's funny is that like people who like people will be uncomfortable getting into an argument about it because it's kind of a touchy subject.
The
But
the way I've
but
always seen,
if they try to argue against me, I'll still win because I think that that's the correct answer.
but there's also when it comes to having, for example, let's say $1,000 of energy of proof of work put to a message, right? Um, that's money that's not going to be collected, but everybody knows there's $1,000 of proof of work that's been put towards that message. Now, that same $1,000 would have to be split up between. It's not like everybody gets to open the message either and gets $1,000. So the way I've always seen Boost for me is like a content ranking thing. Like even with like search engines, like seeing the how high this article ranks as a boosted content as opposed to this article when you're searching the same title or whatever, something similar, like, finance. You see one article on the
Yeah,
search
well,
that's higher with a higher boost rating as opposed to the one with a lower boost rating, you're probably going to read the one with a higher boost rating first. So, as far as getting
right.
paid for opening up an email, you're not going to open up an email very likely almost ever in your life that's going to have $1,000 attached to it. Like if they're trying to spam you with emails to have you read it for a certain amount of money, it's probably going to be pennies or whatever the case is. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, and so I think that the content ranker application of Boost is a lot more interesting, but it's also a little harder to explain. So I think the spam filter is a little bit more obvious. Um, but it's but Boost is good for any time there's competing information.
Yeah.
So so you can have a message that's designed for a specific person, and you want him to read your message before other messages that people might be sending him, or you can just have a message for the world that's just public for anybody,
Yep.
and you want everybody to read it before they read other things.
Well, we got a few messages here that I'm sure people want read to you. So I want to read some of these comments because we got a lot of comments. Crypto Feedery says, "Were you implying at one point that the reward system is negative for Bitcoin, or did he
Okay,
misunderstand
yeah.
that?"
I'm not sure what I do not think that I was implying that, but I would need some clarification on the question because I didn't. Yeah, I don't quite know what he's asking about.
Okay, we'll
But
probably get a
I think
clarification on that.
Bitcoin is a win-win-win-win situation.
Okay,
Bitcoin is a win-win-win-win for everybody proposition.
it's a bigly, win bigly on Bitcoin SV.
Yeah.
Tommy Sparks says, "Great advice as always, Daniel. You're right on target." Uh,
Thank you.
he also says, "Price discovery will change if you can look far enough into the future."
Yeah.
And then Noel says, hashtag Phil before you shill.
Yeah.
We got Tommy Sparks again. "The exchanges of today will end up being minority in the future." Martin Adamo, "Very good, Daniel. Enjoyed part one here." So I guess he's talking about the theory of money. I'm going to be putting a description, a link in the description of this video to that. You guys really need to see that amazing stuff. You make it so easy to understand with your analogies and pointing at different authors and reading lines from their. It really does make it like almost visual understanding I love it. That's why I enjoy that you
Me
come
too.
do your little thing. It's amazing, and I'm sure everybody here is enjoying that. Crypto Feedery says, "Will there come a day when we will be regretting spending BSV on shit posting Twetches, buying pizza with BTC analogy?"
Yeah, well, maybe, but there's always stuff that you want now. It's about balance. So you want to balance the long term with the short term because
So
you don't want to be an ascetic while you're waiting.
so
Delayed gratification doesn't mean denying yourself everything.
so save some of your BSV, but go out there and buy a Satoshi Nakamoto mug. You know, buy some friend swag. Go out there, spend some money on ZeroConf if you like a hat or something like that, right? But save some for later on, 2 years down the road, for example, right? Like, don't delay yourself that gratification if you want something now and you can afford to buy it now, right?
Right, yeah.
We got Rafael Laverde says, the Emperor of Bitcoin looks very excited to see you.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I've known him a long time. Raphael, what's your title? If I'm the emperor, who are you?
Well, we will be
He's
waiting for that
the
response.
Jamie from the Game of Thrones. He's the guard, the right hand, the right hand guard. You know.
Is he the what's the
Who's
hound?
the
The hound? Is he the hound? Was that what the guy's name
who's the
was?
Hodor of Bitcoin?
Hodor.
The Hodor of Bitcoin.
Hodor. Oh man, I haven't watched like every single episode. I've watched some of the shows, right? But it's a pretty good. I'm gonna have to binge watch it eventually one day. It's pretty cool. It's around my alley. I like the whole, like it seems like kind of like medieval times with the futuristic type vibe and mythology and all that shit. Yeah, I gotta give it to it. I
Yeah.
gotta watch that Game of Thrones shit. I like watching like regular documentaries about like the Roman Empire, about Scipio, whatever his name is, and Romulus and freaking Caesar, and yeah, pretty dope. All right, we got Tommy Sparks again. Daniel, what is the infinity sign on Baymail using boost when you more the slider up? Found that confusing. When you move the slider up.
That's a good question. I don't know. I didn't design that system. You should ask Dagan. He made it. But yeah, you can't buy an infinite amount of boost.
Not even
So
on
I'm
credit.
not sure.
Not even with that American
Not sure
Express
what that
black
means.
card. We can't jump on some infinite boost with anybody got a black card out there? You know, PM us here and we'll get you some infinite boost. Make sure not to forget the CVV on the back. Uh, Crypto Freedery, also paying someone $1,000 to read your emails implies that you'd have to be certain you get 10 times value in return, or you wouldn't risk it. That makes a lot of sense. Why send
Yeah.
somebody $1,000 email if you're not at least gonna make $10,000 back, right? That's a really, really good point, Crypto Feeder.
Well, the big thing about the $1,000 email too is that it's obviously you know, a hypothetical situation where you're
Yeah.
just creating a thought experiment about which one is more valuable in this extremely unlikely scenario. The one thing about paying someone $1,000 is you know that that is just the max, you know, the max amount. That it's always just going to be that $1,000, just going to get you access to that email, and it's only ever going to be that $1,000. Where the proof of work is basically like, creating tentacles. Like the $1,000 has the ability to send to attract rational signal receivers for the end of time, because that proof of work gets attached for the end of time. So it's just much more like protracted over a longer period of time. There's just a lot more opportunity for value that comes from
Oh, I like that
assigning
analogy.
the work. Yeah.
That's why
Well,
Manifestable's on team in the box with us right here. Shoot.
And
Oh,
I
boy.
also want to mention that
Gotta
a
make,
lot of
have to have somebody make me look
Daniel's
good.
videos, yeah, Daniel's videos are available to watch in they've been promoted multiple times on InTheBox. That was actually the only way that I found Daniel was through InTheBox, through Joshua Hensley's describing of Daniel's video called Why or I think I discovered the N-Chain business model. And then I went on like a 72-hour binge where I watched everything. A lot of them are available on Streamanity right now, you know, for, you know, under $1, or there's some that are boosted as well.
That's pretty cheap. What are they
And
giving out, a discount or something?
and I think Daniel, are you boosting them or?
I've just been setting the prices pretty low. Like I want people to actually watch them, so I don't make them too expensive. Because I mean, I think that it's just better for me if people watch them.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think that there's a lot of important information in them, and Bitcoin is more valuable when people understand it. So I don't want to earn tons of money off of the videos, although it is fun to get money off of them.
Get money.
But mainly, I
Woo!
just want people to understand them.
Watch Daniel on Streamanity so he could get that money.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about getting money, there's a really, really good way to get money on Twitch right now. And it's through our art competition. Not a contest. Okay. It's an art competition. Not a pyramid scheme. It's an art competition. You got that, Satan? Love you, brother. It's a competition. It's not a contest. Get it straight, guy. All right. It was Siri. I was writing that Twitch through Siri, and I said competition, and she accidentally wrote contest. Okay. So that's our defense. We have we actually earned Twitch of the week, and Twitch gave us a big shout out. So big shout outs to Twitch. $12.18 earned on this, and we're at 50 right now on the actual competition. So we got a lot of new posts in there. Let me pull it up here. There were some really, really good ones. By the way, it was Paola's birthday. I'm sure everybody that's been on Twitch has seen that. Paola turned the big 1-1. 11 years old, doing big things. Look at that beautiful background. Even started her own business. She's watching dogs. What do you guys think about that, huh? Young entrepreneur. She's one to think about the future.
Yeah.
Sure. We got.
Well, that's really great about the art competition.
Yes.
Because they don't have art in the other coins. I don't think.
They had the Pepidap thing though, right? Kind of. I mean, that's kind of art, but it's nothing in comparison to what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, art is something that proves that we're like real people instead of like hypnotized,
NPCs.
programmed people who, NPCs, right?
Non-player characters.
You're right.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves, so I've run into some NPCs, not only on Twitter, playing this game. It's really freaking fun.
And tell Paula congratulations on her entrepreneurship.
Yeah, 100%. She is wanting to take care of dogs. She'll clean the dog for you, take care of the dog. She is the next dog whisperer. We have our own dog whisperer on BSV. That's right. If you're not following her yet, you should, and I'll get you her user number here shortly. We also got some really cool stuff going on here. Customize said, "Have you thought about what we emailed around a couple of months ago?" He's talking to me, the foam smith. Still very much would want, if possible. Good luck on the art contest. I don't know if they're working on something together. That'd be pretty sick. I don't know, Daniel, if you've seen some of the stuff that Meet the Foam Smith and Customize have put out yet. There's some pretty amazing.
No, I don't know. Now show me.
Go through some of it. Customized won our last art competition. I like how I'm wording that now. You see, if it wasn't for Siri, she would have gotten this straight. I'm gonna have to go far down here. Okay, yeah, right here. We actually have a little video, so I'm gonna play the little video from our first art contest. Or no, this is just a thumbnail. Well, it's a thumbnail. So if you could see that little house, I'm trying to find it right now. He made like this awesome house out of foam, and it looks like you're see it on YouTube right now. I don't know if it's coming through on the stream yet. If you guys could see it, it should pop up any moment. But I believe he even made that little figurine there on his own. Either that or he did the painting. I know he has like those
Oh wow, those
little
look really
tiny.
great.
Oh yeah, and then okay, you see now if you're able to see it on the stream, it looks like it's past the delay. You see the little house in the top left, to the left there.
Yeah.
That's made out of foam. That's made.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Made out of foam, and he completely painted it. The guy is a freaking genius when it comes to foam sculpting. Really, really good. And then customized, he does like really amazing costumes that he makes from recycled materials. And I think the only thing that he actually uses as far as like store-bought stuff is spray paint. So he made like a Ninja Turtles one. That has all the different. It has the sword from Leonardo. It has the nunchucks. It has the stick from Donatello. Yeah, really, really cool. Hold on, I have.
We have customized in the chat right now. He's laughing.
Yeah, tell him to jump on InTheBox if he wants, man. It's always nice to have a winner from the first art contest in there. All right, trying to go to the second one. Okay. So there's a lot of nice new little entries in there. There's one by Peter V that I want to get to here in a minute as well. The Twetch bridge has been doing amazing. Saw a lot of notification comes in for that. My boy Daz K2. By the way, Daniel, you had gotten a question in the chat because I guess the people that have been following us for a while and have seen your videos on here, I guess they know that you actually make your own art for your BitCoin and stuff videos. So do you plan on doing an entry for the art competition?
Do I what?
Do you plan on doing an entry for the art competition?
Well, I'll think about it, but I kind of have a lot going on, so I don't I don't know if I can do that right now. But yeah, I do a lot of my own art, but if you watch my videos, there's also stuff from other people, especially in the latest one, Homo Bitcoinus. There's stuff from a bunch of different people. So
yeah,
this
really
is something
cool
that I like a lot. I think that
so in other words, you're saying go look at your old stuff because you're gonna let them down and not enter anything new. The competition.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I like that that people are doing art.
Yeah.
Because to me, culture is a big driver in for new ideas, and I think that that's sort of like something that people aren't able to compete with in the other coin economies because they've all been brainwashed, so they've had their humanity taken away.
Well, can you give us a sliver of hope and say you might enter something into the competition?
Okay, I will. It's theoretically possible.
That was a beautiful sliver.
Right? I like that. Guys, we got a chance. There's a chance. All right. So what else do we
Yeah,
got here?
one of my favorite videos is Daniel. He does a dual breakdown of it's a video called Transformations, where he breaks down 2001: A Space Odyssey, and he also breaks down the Transformers movie, which and he relates it to the current meta of Bitcoin, and it's just genius, So like, I feel like in the world of Daniel Krawisz, he is he there's a small chance that he picks up that tool from the original Homo Bitcoinist Satoshi Nakamoto and tosses that bone towards us.
I'm hoping we
Well,
got a chance.
okay. Well, thanks, Manifestable. I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed that video so much, and that's also one of my favorites. And that one, together with Look Up at the Sky and Homo Bitcoinus, form a trilogy. So you should watch them in order.
Regular old Spielberg,
Yeah.
huh?
And
Yeah.
I had a question to put you on the spot here, Daniel. I produced two pieces of art for you, and I was wondering, are those
Oh.
in a future video, or what?
Yes.
What's the status of that video?
I've been working on another video for almost a year now, and yeah, it took much longer than I was expecting. But the reason that happened is I just kind of insisted on finding other artists to do most of the art for it, artists other than me. So there's some stuff for me, but it's like sketches, just like simple things, and and most of the art is from other people. And the reason I did that is that to me, that kind of that's kind of how an economy is supposed to work, where different people do little pieces of it. So I just kind of got art from anybody who was willing to do it. And I'm really happy to see that now there's getting to be a lot of artists in BSV, because I really had a lot of trouble finding people before. But I've got stuff from a whole bunch of people, and I've put it all together to tell a story. And it's a short video. It's only it's a little over 6 minutes, but I'm well, I've just got one. I'm waiting on one more piece of art, and then I can release it. And I'm really excited to show people.
Sweet.
Well, you should enter that if you get the piece by the July 2nd, then you can enter that video as your piece of art.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that.
think that I will be able to do that. So,
You see?
okay, I'll
So
enter.
it theoretically was possible.
Yeah.
It really was. Wow. Holy shoot. This kind
So,
this
what
kind
is
of
the
reminds me of
nature of the
that poll
competition?
from this kind of reminds me of that poll from 2016, 2015, where it said that Hillary was 99% chance to win, and Donald Trump only
Yeah.
had like 1%. Like, we just did that. We just went back in
Yeah.
time, and we went from
We
1%,
just flipped
and
it.
we just freaking
The
won.
flippening.
The flippening, guys. We got him.
Well, Daniel asked a very important question. So, what is the nature of the competition? And I'll speak for Andres and just say that. So,
Yes.
what we do is we've created a coliseum for the various different pieces of art, and then we antagonize the art with each other, and then we place them in the competition, and we jeer them on as they demolish each other, and we only salute the winners. So it's a bloodthirsty competition between the art.
I could
Oh,
not.
okay.
I
Well,
could
that's
not
interesting.
have said it better myself, dude. Should I wear like the day of the comp when I announce? I think I'm gonna wear a toga with the little leaf, and I'm just gonna like.
Yeah.
I'm committing to that right now. I'm wearing a toga for the day
It's
of
like
the
the
competition.
movie 300, except for art.
Yes, and we'll be kicking down all the bad art into the infinite hole, right? And at the bottom of that infinite hole is an infinite boost, and if you can reach that, you can make it out of the hole.
Does the winner get any kind of reward or anything,
Oh
or
yes, yeah. First, the prize is at around $250. So it is 60% for first place, 30% for second place, 10% for third place, and then if you're
Okay.
runner up, we will definitely give you consolation. And for you being an entrant, I think the day before, all the people that actually entered, not entries, but the people that entered, will give them a couple bucks for entering, just for entering. But then you get kicked down the
Yeah.
hole if your art doesn't make it in first or second or third place. You'll be compensated for going down that hole.
Yeah, and I'd like to offer, you know, a prize for the piece that is the most boosted. I'll just be giving a separate prize of $10 just for the most boosted piece of art. So
oh,
Ooh.
cool.
Then I would do like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
some
if
retro
they're all
gaming type of art, right? And you put it on retro Twetch, which actually uses boost, right?
Right.
Because you could go on boostpow.com and you see all the media, and I could boost content from there as well, right, Cosmos?
yeah.
Right. So yeah, if any users are trying to draw attention to their art because they think that it is the most dominant, bloodthirsty art that exists in the BSV space, then you know, add it to Retro Twetch with the tag $ OSG. And if it's a longer video or something that can't go on, you can just create a link that links to the video or the piece, and just start using Boost. It's gonna be great for everyone.
I love it
Yeah.
for
Okay.
content
That sounds
writing.
really fun.
Did you see this thing that Coloridi Arts is working on, Marina? These
No,
are
but
some
she's so
sketches.
good.
Oh my gosh, dude, she is amazing. These are some sketches that she's doing. It looks like some Illuminati stuff. Um, I'm trying to kind of read it out. It's hard to see, but man, she is so good. You see like the dragon there on the BitCoin and everything like
She's
that. That is some. She's so good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen some of her videos, Cosmos? She has a YouTube channel. If you guys are not following Coloridi Arts on YouTube, it's Coloridi Arts 1855. Search that on YouTube. She's putting out little snippets. They're like 5-minute time lapses, and they are on another level. She's gonna reach an incredible amount of followers with her art. I mean, she's literally a national treasure. And this is one.
And also Cooloridi Arts also, I believe, just offered $3,000 to a user with the Twetch number 64. Did you happen to see that?
Woo! No, I didn't.
So yeah,
That's
she made
huge.
an offer and it got
Mm.
agreed to. He agreed
Ooh.
to sell her sell her
Ooh.
user number 64 for something like, I think it was maybe not $3,000, maybe it was closer to $2,000, but she originally offered him $1,200 and he basically agreed to it. He said okay. He just said, basically he said like, that's a really interesting
I missed
offer. You
that
know,
one.
like, that sounds great. Let me think about it. And then she just upped it to $2,000 right after that. So
Dude, that
so as
went
far as
right
I
over
know,
my head.
she's
Whoa.
making
Good job,
moves.
woman. Good job, man.
Yeah. She's a
Yeah.
really great artist.
Yeah. And
So good, and she's really trying to draw attention to a specific piece that she's going to release when she gets 250 users. So Andres, if you have the ability to just go to her page really
course,
quickly
man.
right now, we
Shoot.
just take a look at how many she has. But when she gets to 250, she's going to release her special Bitcoin
Oh, she's 9
focused
away, dude. She's 9 away.
9 away. All right,
9
so
away,
yeah,
dude.
if we can get
Whoa,
her over to
whoa.
up to 250, because she has been talking about this piece of art since she had only about 120 followers. So it's been a long time coming, and you know how it is with Twitch. It's slow and steady. You know, like it's, you know,
That's pretty
so
exciting.
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be great.
I
I can't wait to see what she puts out there.
I put her link in the chat right now. Everybody follow. She only needs 9 more. 9 more. Go, go, go. And I'm
then
gonna
while
link
we're
her
on the
YouTube
subject of
channel
how
as
many
well.
followers too, I want to acknowledge that InTheBox is all the way up to 394 followers.
On YouTube.
So
Oh,
only
wait.
6 away from that magic 100, that Centennial 400.
Loving it.
When InTheBox gets to 1,000, the idea is that we'll be able to do the live streams directly from Twetch, so you won't have to actually navigate to YouTube.
Yeah.
And
and
it'll monetize InTheBox, so give them
scroll.
Andres a little bit of scratch for all of the hard work that he does to keep the community alive and stuff. I would love to see InTheBox get as many as they can get.
I love doing this, man, and it's always nice having the community involved. It's a little niche market. We know we're gonna grow slow. We could go a certain way to where it's way mainstream and a bigger audience, but you know what? We have 395 uh, subscribers on YouTube, and we get a ton of views considering the amount of subscribers we have. We have 417 followers on Twitch now. We just passed 400 not too long ago. We're already at 417. We have we're like the 300, right? But we're just growing because we're all strong. We're united. Everybody on Twitch is about that bright gang life, that positivity, and they know that we're here to spread it as much with them. We try to showcase as many Twitches as we can that are bright, positive. We go through the top day, whatever the case is, but we love this community, and this is one thing where I can say within the box where it's future planning, our superior future planning. I think one thing where we're ahead of a lot of different people, like you said in the competition, Daniel, is with Twetch. I know for sure it might take 5 years, 10 years for Twitch to go super duper freaking huge. But once Twitch goes huge, it's gonna be nice to have a huge voice on such a great platform, such a great community. And again, I mean, you go on
Twitch
Twitter
is
and go ahead.
Twitch is it's great that it's people's first experience with BSV now. Like people are getting into Bitcoin through Twitch without knowing anything about the toxic markets. And Twitch is such a great project, and like it's an idea that just couldn't exist before Bitcoin. And once you try it, it's like you know that nothing nothing can compete with what we have. It's like something that just can't exist before.
Yeah,
Topic big,
and it's just so much fun. It's like I don't know. I think all of the people on Twitch are really great, and it's just fun to use. It's a lot better than the other social networks. They've all been taken over by manipulators.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that was actually what I was going to say. I was going to say that a big topic, I think that Daniel has a few overarching topics that almost all of his videos directly touch on. And one of the big ones that for me is individualism, which he defines a lot of times through, accessing creativity, etc. But like the concept of the platforms being taken over by manipulators, it really is like outlining the exact things that Daniel's video today, even just his live presentation today, was specifically warning us against, right? Like just following the herd just because. Really what Twetch is able to do is able to have us all be individuals, but have our individualism be creating a shared space that where we become mutually dependent on each other's creativity and mutually dependent on each other's individualism, you know. So it's the exact opposite of the mentality of like the hub and the spokes picture that Daniel showcases a lot of times with the Twitter hub with all the different Agent Smith spokes, where it actually creates something much closer to the large monkey pictograph where all of the different faces are sort of, microcosms of each other, because we all respect and appreciate each other's individualism and each other's boundaries. So we recognize that we contribute something unique to the overall small world network, you know?
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. Well, I just, I'm glad you've understood what I'm talking about so well, because I mean, a lot of that stuff just flies over people's heads, especially if they're in BTC. And
Yeah.
it's so weird to me to see it, and to see how like there's just no way to make it more clear, and it's like that it will not penetrate their brains.
I think
And
there's one line that's gonna sum it all
yeah,
up, and it's that BSV is the superior collaborative unit.
yes,
Right.
right.
Because we don't try to co-opt each other,
No
right?
reason
Like
to.
that's what actually makes us stronger,
Yep.
is that we don't co-opt each other's agency. We actually we need this network because of how important agency is for ourselves. So if this network didn't enable agency, then all of us would probably just be in different networks and unhappy in those networks, you know, because
Yeah.
this network, we've come to this network because of the fact that it enables our agency.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, and that's kind of what money is for. Like, you benefit from other people's creativity. So it's kind of horrible that this cult took over BTC and tricked everybody into to um, to hodling it no matter what happens, because
Yeah.
they're not benefiting from each other,
Unfortunately
and
not.
they don't understand what the benefit is, and they don't understand that their economy is being destroyed. So, and if they heard us talking about this, they would think that it was all crazy.
Well, the
But
fortunate thing is
yeah, I
We're
mean, in
shills.
order,
there will be at least one or two people that see your name and they will listen to it from the BTC maximalists, and hopefully one of them sees the point and kind of gets it. You know, even if you just convert one person, I think great, because it's also always good to have new thought within the collaborative unit, right?
Yeah, well, there's a famous like parable or something that has always stuck out to me ever since I was a little kid, and it's of the young man that's walking along the beach and he's picking up starfish that have gotten stuck on the beach and he's throwing them back into the ocean. Have either of you heard of this one?
No, I heard another joke, but
So
it's not very nice
this
about
one's
throwing
not a
people
joke,
back in
but
the.
so there's a young man, he's walking along the beach and basically the tide has gone out and all the starfish that were previously in the water are now stuck on the beach. So he's picking them up and tossing them back in the water. And then an old man that has like sort of become, hardened to the life, after kind of being miserable, he sort of reprimands the young man he thinks that he's wasting his time by throwing these starfish back, and he says, what does it actually matter that you're making this effort? Like, if you look up and down this beach, there's thousands of starfish, you're never going to get all of them. Why does it matter what you're doing, you know? And the young man like looks at the starfish that's in his hand and he says, well, it matters to this one, and he throws it back into the water. And that parable is just so powerful to me, even though it's something that I learned when I was a very young kid. Maybe my mother taught me when I was very, very young. it always stuck out to me because it's a truth about, you know, like what you were saying, Andres, that yeah, there probably aren't that many people that you're going to be able to you know, to tune in and to turn a light bulb on for them. But if you engage them like respectfully, and you know, like you know, you make an honest effort to you know, you might, like, this is what I do with Boost, you know, like when I discuss Boost with people, you know, like I try not to make them feel like they're wrong because they don't understand it the way I do, you know, like I really just try to show them the picture about why it can be beneficial to both of us if we, even if we just think of it differently, you know, like the open-mindedness that it comes with. And I've found people really respond to that because people don't want to be made feel like they're dumb, you know, but a lot of times they're addicted to the feeling of being inferior or stupid. You know, they need someone to show them that their own success is a product of their own actions, and they can change how they act, and it will actually affect their own life, you know. Like, so surprisingly, you have to teach this to people, you know, like,
Well, and
so
one thing I've heard this before. I forgot. There's some type of law that's named after it or something like that. If you become more conscious of or aware, society in whole becomes more conscious and aware, right? So the more people that become
yeah,
conscious and aware of certain things, right, is a whole as a whole
right,
is becoming conscious. So the more people that become aware,
exactly.
the
And
more
especially
conscious. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty dope.
especially within a small world network like what we're doing, because you know, it's just like if you live in a community with people and you've known them, they're your neighbors all of your life, you know, you don't just vandalize one of your neighbors and just like, you know, just go break into their house, like rearrange all of their, you know, furniture, turn some tables over, and then go back to your house, and just next time you see them, hey, how's it going, good to see you, you know, like
No,
you're part of the same network, you know, so you don't do that to the people that you connect with, you
yeah,
know, like.
that is definitely
But when you know, when there's a mask, right, like everyone becomes empowered when there's no accountability, right, like um the ability to on Twitter just start a flame war and just quietly dip out while a
yeah.
bunch of people start arguing and stuff like that, you know what I mean,
So
like
true, dude.
you
So
know,
true.
like
And a lot of
doesn't
these
doesn't impact you because
a
you don't
lot
connect
of
with those people,
influencers
so who
do it
cares.
though. I actually see a lot of people doing it. They'll start a shitstorm and just quietly exit out and just let it happen on their page or whatever the case is. But lately, to get away
Yeah, and
from
that's
all,
like they say, all press is good press.
yep.
You
Lately,
know,
what I've been
so
doing to get away
people,
from that crap
once
is I
people
just
start
been gaming.
arguing, yeah. Well, you know, and that gets back to what Daniel's talking about with having long-term planning, with being oriented to the future, right? If you're only oriented to the present, then if you start infighting within your own network, then you know, that you're gonna come out in the positive because it's going to look like, you know, this is coming from you, so you're sort of you know, winning some sort of feud centrality contest between the divisive views, because you are setting them between each other, you know, against each other, but in reality you're doing a disservice, you know, because you're creating, you know, you're co-opting the various voices within your own network, and and you know, like if you can orient if you can just both all look at a shared horizon, then you realize that yes, there might be, you know, different ways of getting there, but we're at least staring in the same direction, right? Like, and part of that is understanding that if we're looking that we have to look at something that we don't have yet, right? Like, people always want to think that they're God's gift to reality, that they already have what they need. So if you don't understand that, then there's something wrong with you, because they already have accessed whatever it is that's valuable. But by orienting to a shared horizon, then you recognize that, like Daniel said, you can be wrong and everyone can be wrong, right? Like that, there's freedom that comes with that realization that allows us to not blame each other for the trite things that are usually not anyone's fault. Sometimes it's just a miscommunication. You know what I mean?
Well, I would venture to say though that Leroy Jenkins was his fault. Are you aware of who Leroy Jenkins is? that that was definitely his fault.
Yes.
That was definitely his fault.
Yes.
Lately,
Right, but think about how much joy has come from this. So this is another thing, is that, like, you know, sometimes we misperceive value. So we are thinking about a mistake, like Daniel said, like sometimes in his video, Bitcoin, Homo Bitcoinist, he says sometimes if you're just continually trying to provide good information, then even if everyone thinks you're wrong, if you just keep doing that, eventually they might change their mind.
Correct.
And with Leroy Jenkins, like, it seemed like he made a really bad move, right? By improperly, making this attack and sort of giving away
Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
At least I ain't
But
chicken.
in reality, it was a mistake that created a beautiful new meme, you know? And so the thing about the memes is that it communicates a truth that is deeper than the reality. So, like, it's deeper than the misery and the shame that he felt for making that mistake, because we've all made those mistakes. So we all relate to his mistake. And so we've redeemed his mistake in our shared joy and love of like, you know, and becoming a rally call for our own mistakes.
Think about it. And
know?
Also the point of the video was to get content, right? Was for a video like that to get views, reach, whatever the case is. Had they just gone with the plan and killed the boss, that video would have been watched X amount of times, never heard of again. But Leroy
maybe
Jenkins,
100 times,
maybe 100 times, whatever. Let's be generous. I mean, we get a, you know, maybe times. But because of Leroy Jenkins, that scene will live on for forever. So so maybe everybody views something as wrong, just like Daniel mentioned, right? But that one person says, no, this is right, and it was the right thing to do. Leroy Jenkins was right. Changed my mind.
Are you still there, Daniel?
I think Daniel got. I don't see him in here anymore. I'm waiting for him to connect back.
Lost him.
Yeah, I DM'd him on Discord, but it looks like he got disconnected. So maybe his battery died. Just waiting for him to pop back in. But while we're waiting for him,
yeah, no problem.
Wanted to pull this up now that we're in gamer mode. Joshua Hensley, and one of my top 10 favorite Twetchers. Him, Kurt Booker, has been one of my really favorites. Awesome. Yeah, he says now playing Fantasy Star. I haven't played this game, don't know much about it, but I know it comes from Retro Twitch. I love gaming, so I'm gonna have to check it out. I've personally been playing this game called Sea of Thieves. It's so much freaking fun. I can't get over it. It's not retro, but I'm gonna start posting on Retro Twitch about my little experience on that game. It's been fun as hell. This is another one of my favorite Twetchers. Have you seen this one right here? It's by Dom, Odom.
I love.
At 497.
Yeah, I love Odom too.
An introduction to
so
entropy.
He's Jimmy, right? Is that his name?
Jimmy Odom.
Jimmy Odom, yeah.
Yeah, an introduction to entropy, and he put this amazing like picture, and it almost like has like the tree of life kind of thing. That kind of reminds me of like the Twitch logo, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Absolutely.
Almost looked like a flower here. So this is amazing. I just love this post, and I figured I'd throw it in there. I love Jimmy Odom. I love his posts. They're always very deep. Always gives you something to think about. So I figured I'd throw it in there. You know what? Let me screen share in Discord. That way you could see what I'm seeing. How about we do that? Doesn't that make sense? Are you there? Manifestable?
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, you sound a little bit more distant. It sounded better before, but I can still hear you.
Let me jump back in, okay?
All right, go ahead and try to hit. When you jump back in, Manifestable, hit view screen. So again, just Jimmy Odom right here. Big shout outs. I was gonna read through the whole thing, but we've been doing this for a couple hours already. This is an amazing thread. Everybody should read through this. It's pretty dope, and I love the whole. Every time he twitches, he puts out some amazing hot fire. We have Gilliam at 652. This is my 1000th Twetch. Big shout out. I wish to dedicate it to all the inspiring people I met here. You back, Manifestable?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Do me a favor, on that 1000 Twetch.
Yeah.
Can you leave a comment that hashtag every Twetch user will be a millionaire? What is that hashtag again?
Yeah. Every Twetcher will be a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna comment that. I like that.
Yeah. And I'll help you spell millionaire.
Oh, thank you, because I probably screwed it up last time.
It's MIL, then the number 7, then a capital U.
Millionaire. I hope I'm spelling this right. Now you're screwing my brain. MILLION, right? AIRE?
Yeah, AIRE.
All right.
Yeah,
and he says his role models are Harry. Big shout outs, user number 1.
Yeah.
That user number is probably worth a few billion.
I don't know that much about Harry. Do you know much about Harry?
I do read a lot of his posts. He does a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and he's like a good example of when Hunter says limitation creates value. When he posts, it's really worth looking through some of his. But I think he deals with some of the technical aspects and the programming, the coding on Twitch. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me there. We got Urban Arson, very inspiring. Another one of my top 10. I got so many top 10 Twitchers. I think it's more than 10. We got President Randy, Elon Moist, Ben. This guy's in my top 3.
Who do you think is the if you could only have one person that's like the quintessential Twetcher, who is it in your opinion?
Shit. It would have to be somebody that's very active.
Could only have one.
It would have to be. Shoot, man. I'd probably have to go with. President Randy. YOLO.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to go with President Randy.
I think there's obviously a lot of really great candidates for that, but I really like user number 5, I think it is.
Yeah, Ben.
Ben. I mean, Ben just like he has so much of like the vibe, I feel like, that is like he's a little bit controversial. He's like super friendly, like he just is super authentic. He's totally himself, Yeah, so that's someone that stands out to me as really also carrying the flag in like a really.
You're right. You know what? Damn, you sold me, dude. Sorry, Randy. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ben. Actually, for my daughter's birthday last year, I was sending her a bunch of BSV.
You have a daughter?
Yeah, dude. 14 years old. 14.
I never knew that, man. I never knew that.
Yeah, she's I have her in some of my older Twetches. But I sent him like a BSV, and I was like, "Can you please just forward this to my daughter?" He's very. I mean, there's nobody any other like I can't just do that on Twitter. Just pick like some random Twitter person that I follow, and say, "Hey, here's $88. Can you please forward this?" But I just had that trust in him. He's very, very trustworthy. So yeah, I think I'm he also.
We got a question in the chat. Is Climenius still active? Someone asked. Yeah, Clemenos.
Yeah, unfortunately not in a long time. He's probably reading. I don't know if he has an alt account. I've speculated with somebody else that he might have an alt. I don't know. But he's not been active on Twitch. We've brought him up a plenty. Almost every other episode we're mentioning Clemenos.
Yeah.
But no, he has not been active on Twitch as of late. Inertia is another one that he's inspired by. Inertia is another one of my top 3 Twitchers, top 10 Twitchers for sure. You got Chris Mezzacapa. That's another person you gotta follow.
Yeah, I really like. I love Chris. He's
awesome.
Someone like oh man, this guy, he's the truth, you know, like he's so humble. I just like have a lot of respect for him because he just is very like humble, you know, like sometimes when someone is that humble, you're like, man, this guy's got to be something special, you know, like.
Yeah, he's super awesome. Super awesome. He has a couple of YouTube videos out there as well regarding 21E8. I would love to have him on here and go a little bit more. He's like a 21E8 aficionado, dude. He's like a connoisseur of the 21E8, dude. You know?
Right.
He's dabbled with some Chateau Le Fille of 21E8, you know? So I really enjoyed his Twitch. It was awesome.
I don't know. Have you gone to shawwars.com?
To Shaw Wars? No, I have not been there.
See if you can open this up on a tab if you have the ability to. It's shawars.com, I believe. So
I've seen the website.
I think Shaw Wars has a Twetch account.
Yeah.
There's an official Twetch account for Shaw Wars.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about this last night, I think, and yeah, just this is run with the 21E8 protocol, I'm pretty sure.
And lets you vote for
Pretty
Satoshi
cool stuff,
Vision or Frog Vision. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's Satoshi Vision, the Pumpkinhead, you know, like Craig the Pumpkinhead. He's winning, I think, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's winning, honestly.
I'm trying to vote for success. All right, we voted.
There you go.
Come on.
So this is a user account.
And an AK, dude.
The
guy just has a pumpkin as a head. We're talking about a frog with a mustache and an AK, dude. Come on, dude. If you voted for a pumpkin, dude, you're doing this wrong. We got Andrew JD here, user number 13872. This is my first Twitch. Excited to be here. Fire sign. But he added to that. That's why he made it. Big block Bitcoiner here. Starting to diversify into BSV. Good job. After looking more into it. Awesome. You'll find a lot of information here on Twitch. A lot of great rabbit holes. A lot of people willing to help here. Bought my first small amount of BSV via BitStocks earlier today. Sweet. You should also be trying to earn BSV. So I'm going to drop you a like. Help you earn some BSV. Give you a little branch. And hopefully you continue to Twitch right on, brother. I told you, a lot of people joining, huh? Manifestable?
Yeah. And I think that your insight that it's going to just keep happening as it builds up to the election cycle.
Yep.
As it gets deeper and deeper into misinformation and stuff like that. As more people become shadow banned.
Yep. Censored, banned.
You're gonna really. Yep.
Yep. And the thing is, places like Steam have a big internal conflict right now. There's a lot of people leaving Steam for other website. I think it was called Hive or something is what they were splitting up. Right? So that social media side is splitting up. We saw a big influx of Steam users come here. Gab has been deemed as alt-right Nazi website by the mainstream media, which I don't think it is. I mean, anybody could join. You could be a commie, you could be a Nazi, you could be a conservative, you could be a Christian, an atheist, whatever. However, it was really used for people that were getting banned off of Twitter for wrongthink. So Twitch has a nice, fresh, bright gang. I mean, type of a vibe to it. so it's very inviting. There's
mean,
no
just look at
infighting. You can't call it alt-right. It's a good place to come
we're
to.
antagonizing art against each other in order to create a bloodthirsty brawl between all art.
Yeah, but that's acceptable. That's good. That's good violence, right? That's how you use violence. And anybody who disagrees with that, join Twetch and tell me why. Because you are accepted here. Just maybe not your art. It might get violently destroyed by another piece of art. Artists, beware. Come with your hot fire, or don't come at all. We got President Randy here. One of my top 3 favorite Twetchers. Funny enough, his user number is 3. Twitter always makes you feel like the end of the world is near. True. If you aren't outraged and trying to stir shit up, you are part of the problem. True. Put your phone down for a full 24 hours and then tell me if any of this is real. I hear what you're saying, and I had put my phone away for a week, and I was completely off social media, and I had no clue what was going on. And if there was no Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, no Snapchat or TikTok, there would be no writing. Change my mind. Manifestable, can you change my mind? Manifestable, you still there? We got Customize in the house. Customize, you there? What's up, my brother? Wie geht's? Alles gut? Kannst mich hören? Can you hear me?
I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah? You're finally over it completely? You went to the doctor, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I went to the doctor. It took like the COVID. I need to call back tomorrow. No, Wednesday, in 2 days for the results. I'm feeling better than before. So yeah.
Sweet, but it's not corona, right?
I'll know Wednesday, but he said it probably either is a lighter variant or some kind of small flu or something. I'll know more Wednesday. So
Well, at
I'll have
least.
to wait it out.
But you're good enough to start building again, right? Start working on some costumes.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the concept for the art contest competition. Sorry.
The competition, very good.
The competition. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a real explosion of fiery things that's gonna happen. People are gonna be sending in a lot of good things. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm working on the backplate of the turtle and to fit all the weapons on there. So I'm drawing some things out.
Sweet.
I'm
there looks like there's gonna be a lot.
That
there looks like there's gonna be a lot more competition in this competition. Do you think you're gonna make first place again, or are you scared this time?
I kind of doubt it because a lot of interesting people have joined lately and started showing their art. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a real battle.
It is, and I mean now you even have to pick a strategy, right? You have the meme contest that's an extra, potentially whole BSV if you're following user 28, right? So do you want to go Casino Royale? Do you want to go more 2020? Are you gonna try to tie them both together? I've been even looking at little videos on how to draw Peppy.
I thought the astronomy dork was
a meme,
a side competition, so you can enter both if you want.
I guess if you do it like Casino Royale meme, you know, it's kind of like on the, maybe you could win them both with one. I guess it's a competition, right?
I had like a stupid idea with that one. Something I can do with paint. So maybe I'll just try it out. Why
Yeah,
not?
I'm learning how to draw Pepe the Frog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Nice.
pretty easy. There's a good YouTube video. I'm hoping Coloriti Arts makes a little tutorial videos for the meme makers on how to draw little memes. We got 100 Blessed in the house. We got Manifestable back. What do you guys think about that Twetch from Randy? Where he says that if you're looking at Facebook, if you're looking at Twitter, it's always like if the world is coming to an end. How much truth do you think there is behind that? Because I think he's got it fucking right on the nail with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of yeah,
People are very
like
opinionated,
disturbing
and
things.
they want somebody to agree with or disagree with because it makes them feel like they're part of something. So if they agree with it, they feel like they're part of something. If they disagree with it, they feel like they're part of something, and it makes them feel important. So what the middle path would just, and the way to be really happy would be accept their opinion for what it is.
True.
And to have no opinion of your own, but to honor their honor that they can say what they want. But I look at it like it's none of my business.
But nowadays it's not like a little opinion, but nowadays it's like, you know, it's like serious shit that is bringing people to hate their best friends. Insane. It's insanity.
You know,
Jack Liu says it's like watching CNN, and Crypto Feedery says it's the mass media. Outrage sells.
So Twitter is
Yeah,
like
exactly.
CNN, and Twetch is more like One America News Network.
Well, it's also the crypto news. Look at the crypto world. It's the same thing.
What's up, Jack? By the way,
it's like the new coin.
Right. It's like the Kardashians, the Cryptashians.
The Cryptashians.
Yeah, it's true. That'd be a good show. The Cryptashians.
It's like what's the newest drama in the Cryptashians?
Yeah, and then you got the girl showing her big you got the girl showing her cleavage, and then she's like, "I'm Crypto Katie, and I'm gonna, follow me, and I'm gonna give away one XRP
giveaway
to the next lucky winner."
You got me a giveaway.
One XRP. 20 cents. I'm giving away 20 cents to the next person to follow me.
You see, but this is what I love about the BSV community. We got people like Vice President Spiff, user number 5066, saying, "Today we lift this building to install a new foundation as part of a historic preservation project. Yes, it looks like a heap of garbage, but this 100-year-old historic boathouse is a cultural staple in a prestigious community originally settled in 1640. So on Twitter, you see churches being burned down, and on Twetch, you see buildings being renovated. And I think that's exactly kind of what Randy meant in his last Twetch there, the one that we just went over.
In some ways, too, not to get too meta about that, but it's what the Bitcoin project is about, right? Like data preservation, immutability, and here we have something that is linking itself all the way back to 1640 about designing or creating a new foundation for something that is historical.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's on no better like you couldn't make a better metaphor for the entire project for BSV, because Bitcoin is BSV is 10 years old, but what people think of as BSV, they think that it's new. They think that we're the we're the new kids on the block trying to ride the coattails of the
but our ledger
Kardashians.
Our ledger goes back just as far as Bitcoin's, right?
Exactly. And so and here you have like the preservation of a historic entity by the, rebuilding and redesigning its foundation. You know what I mean? And I think Vice President Spiff is just unwittingly very metaphoric with his, putting this on the blockchain. And we are all doing this. Like, we are all constantly, we wouldn't be in this space if we weren't simultaneously focused on the history of our times and the future. We need, like, people that are in this space have they aren't ignorant to either the past or the future or the present. Like, and we do it for 2 cents a push data transaction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, put it on the blockchain for 2 cents.
That's fucking cheap, dude. That's a deal. I hope it gets
exactly.
cheaper. Just saying. I can't wait to have
Exactly.
Moisty on, by the way.
And one of Hunter's, which, by the way, it's awesome to hear from you, man. But like, we share a love for historical, contemplative path. Like, that had been passed down even before there was writing, through the transmission of certain conditions that need to be met in order to achieve peace and freedom within one's own daily, relative freedom, because we're still meat machines, but we can create conditions that enable us to experience freedom and peace and love in the most fullest way that we're able. And like, could you imagine if the blockchain existed when the people that were creating these conditions were, instead of passing them down orally, we're able to actually pass them down with precision.
Not only precision, but a good making sure that is also being reached by the masses. And then I get that goes
Right.
back to Boost. I mean, that's such a great attaching proof of work for the way I've always seen it. Again, I know I mentioned it over and over, but can you imagine if a search engine like Google used Boost, and if you typed in BitCoin, the first message that you would see would be that the highest, the search with the highest amount of proof of work put towards it, right?
Right. The highest amount of proof of work put towards it, right? Because, instead of just creating search engine optimization through, like, these techniques to sort of trick the robots into prioritizing
That's the word I was
your,
looking for.
specific,
yes.
it's much
Search
more,
engine
it's much more
optimization using
like,
Boost, right?
right, exactly. And but even just with the concept of proving work, like, that's what's sitting on the cushion is. Like, if you're trying to achieve enlightenment, you need to put work in, right? Like, all really great endeavors require vision, and the vision, I think, is the most important part, because the vision is what helps you not get distracted by the Kardashian mentality of just listening to the melodrama, but but building the small world that makes it so that we each are reminding each other on a daily basis to be our brightest selves, right? Like, it's, we can only go so far on our own power. Eventually we need to lean on each other to bring us home. So
take me home.
It's well said, man. That's always been it's interesting, because You know, everyone puts forth, gives their attention to something. You're always giving your attention to something. Like look at Customize right now. His attention is on his task, right?
Yep.
He's giving his attention there. And because he's given his attention there, he's gonna get something done, and he's gonna build something. So we're always building something with our attention in a way. And that's why our attention is so powerful and it's so important. And we're gonna get the fruit of the seed the seed that he's doing right now is he's building that, and the fruit's going to be with the finished product, even though the fruit's in every moment. So what I'm trying to get at is that if you're unhappy in your life, or if you're not satisfied right now, I'm not talking about in the future when Bitcoin goes to $1 million and when my business is whatever. No, right now, if you're not content and happy right now, then your attention's in the wrong place. That doesn't mean you still can't work towards that. Doesn't mean you still can't do the work. Like for instance, because we're watching Customize, even though the goal is to finish his task and to get that finished product, the joy is in the journey. It's just this moment to moment. And so if our attention is in the moment instead of in the future on the fruits of our labors, we will be happy. But if our attention is on the fruits, then we're going to be inevitably disappointed. We will be disappointed because our expectation can only lead to disappointment. And so it's you got to be careful where you put your attention and know that it's up to you. You can't blame anybody else for your unhappiness or your discontentment. That's all on you, and it's a beautiful responsibility that we're blessed to have.
100%.
And so
100.
Right. 100% blessed.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
That's right. Man, this episode has
I think
been
amazing
so far, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah. I had a conversation with someone, and this is something that you guys might not know about me because you only hear me in our talks like this, but in every single interaction that I have throughout my entire day, and I've been doing this for 10 years, maybe even longer, but when people ask me how am I doing, I always say it's the best day of my life. I tell them how wonderful I'm feeling, how incredible this day is, how I think that this is going to be such a great week. Like I just do that all the time. It's like instinctual. It becomes just a habit for me now. And I had a guy that asked me that question today because I went back to my bartending job. This is my first day back.
I'm happy for you on that, brother. I look to be joining those ranks.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if you're going back.
I'm looking to go back soon. We still got curfew here, but tomorrow I gotta go. There's a couple places I want to check out because my old job is I'm done with that place, so I gotta go check out a couple places around the corner here, hopefully. But please continue. That was just pretty inspiring hearing that you were going back to work. Go ahead. He asked me about I get a lot of people that ask. They say, well, what is it about today? Like, why so special about today? And normally I tell people, the thing that I love about today is that I'm still living it. But today I told the guy, I said, you know what? It takes me exact same amount of energy to praise my day and to feel like I'm just so blessed and thankful for this day, this opportunity, as it does the same amount of energy for me to complain about my day and to, and so like, which one do I want to put my energy in? It's not that hard, you know what I mean? So, and
not rocket
it's like, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm as you know, I'm a bartender as well, and I've literally lived by those exact words that you just said for years and years and years. If somebody else asks you, and sometimes you might not be telling the truth, but it is true every single time somebody asks me, and it's almost like it's instinctual. Like,
well, you're never telling the truth. That's my thing.
My day's fantastic.
No one can ever know.
Right? Exactly. But
Yeah.
it is true. Why say, "Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
having a
like,
shitty
the reality
day,
is
guy,"
that you'll never
know?
be able to tell the truth, though.
Yeah.
Like, if someone really wants to know what's going on with you, you can't convey that to them.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just too complex. It involves too many
Well, you
layers.
can't even convey it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because the
Right,
thing
yeah.
is that so if you can't convey it to yourself, how can you convey it to
Right.
somebody
All
else?
you're
Right?
gonna do is
But we
trick
still
someone
try.
else.
We still try.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's why
So if you're gonna
silence.
trick
That's why
them,
the
why not
silence.
trick them into
That's why the
it's
silence is.
awesome.
I agree.
Yeah.
And how about this one? This
Yeah.
goes right with that Twetch that we were just talking about. I just liked it. I thought it was really dope.
Yeah.
It says, I'm sick and tired of Facebook. I always end up on Twetch. The first thing I gotta say about this, it's great, but you forgot the mustache. All right.
Yeah.
That's a cardinal sin. But aside from that, it just brought me joy. And
Yeah.
it's so true. Like like for me, it's replaced Facebook with Twitter. Right. I'm sick and tired of Twitter. I always end up on Twitch. So I just thought this was cool, and it's so true. And there's a good reason that you're ending up on Twitch, and that's because there's a future on Twitch, and the world is not coming to an end on Twitch, and that goes again back to what Randy was saying. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, well, I mean, Twitter has its purpose. Its purpose for me is to is for information. So like you guys know, I'm not only into BSV. I like to look at other cryptos, and I like to try to make some money, man, because
we
I've
got
got to
Chico
make a
Crypto
living.
on
I don't
here.
have a
He
job.
talks about other cryptos.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is that
I
yeah,
know, Hunter.
I watch his shows.
I'm
I watch
just
his shows.
pulling your
I got it.
leg. All right.
But that's the only reason yeah, that's funny. But that's the only reason I really I'm on Twitter. And like if I post something, and usually I'll get 3 or 4 people that are against it, because that's the nature of Twitter. And you know what I say? How can I
What?
argue with that? You're absolutely right.
Yep. Yep.
And if you go to
That
my page,
kills the
go to my
argument right
Twitch
there.
page right now.
That kills any argument.
Go to my Twitch page, Andres.
16
Go to my
Hold on, if I type it
go to
up,
my
it never
page
goes.
and look at my last post, and it sums it
Well,
up exactly.
I loved
I think I
Hunter
might have
had
pulled
a post recently. Somebody asked, what is the truest thing you
picture.
can say in 4 words or less? Is that right?
Yeah, don't believe your thoughts.
Yeah, don't
Hunter
believe
says,
your
be more
thoughts. I thought that was
concerned
such a
with your
great answer.
character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think of you. John Wooden. I have pulled this one up.
No. It's the next one. That one. It's
Yes,
this. It's this
I
one
think
right
I got that
here.
one
Yeah.
pulled up over here. I have that one pulled up over here, actually.
You do?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the Twitter, the solution to all Twitter problems right there.
Mm-hmm.
You just say,
This
oh, okay, I'm
wisdom
sorry,
has
you're
saved
right.
me from wasting countless hours of useless engagement on Twitter. And this goes again, and some people use this in a different way. We were talking about it earlier. Master, what is the secret to happiness? Not to argue with idiots. Master, I completely disagree with that secret. Yes, you are right. Idiot. Here, let me fix it for you. Type idiot right here, right? So we got that one. We got Paola Pelt, user 3875. If you're not following her, she is the BSV princess, one day to be queen of BSV. All hail the princess.
She's sweet.
Yeah, she is. Entrepreneur, business owner, at 11 years old. Okay, all she wants is a trampoline. All right.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. The princess just wants a trampoline. She's entered our previous art competition, not contest, competition, and she made a couple bucks there. Look at Masume. Miss her, girl. Miss you. Glad to know you're posting.
She's the Iranian queen, the Iranian princess.
Yep. See what
you
else
know
we
what?
got
I think the little, it's interesting with the princess and queen thing. Of course, she's a princess because she's young, or whatever. She's still a kid. But once girls get older and they still want to be a princess, you know what I tell them?
What?
If you want to be a queen, you got to stop acting like a princess.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually really happy that you brought.
Manifestable, you were breaking up a bit. Go ahead. Free go. Hello? Manifestable, can you hear me? Okay, I think we lost Manifestable. He'll be back within a short moment. Customize, what are you working on over there, brother?
I'm trying to get the detail for the gonna put a base layer.
Oh, wow.
Get a bit,
The audio is kind of breaking up. Your video is perfect. I don't know why your audio is breaking up. I don't know if it's my connection or...
probably because I'm... Is it better now?
Yeah, I hear you a little bit better now. The video's coming through perfect, but it was just the audio that wasn't coming through.
So I'm some
Uh-huh.
here.
Oh, to make it more 3D? To add some more depth to it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it looks so perfect.
Friends talk about, they're like,
That's awesome. Yes, 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 yes. That is awesome. That is gonna look great.
They come. So I'm gonna add on there.
I'm sorry, I dropped my call, but did you guys end up hearing that part?
They're actually ceramic elements. Water here. The iron bar, the little hole. It heats the water. It's another find I made, which I'll probably use in.
Yeah, that looks great, man.
Yeah.
That is really gonna add some more character to it.
That.
That's gonna add a lot more character, give it more of like that turtle feel, right? Like a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
And actually, this is the only thing I have to do. The backplate, and then fit everything together, and then it's practically done. Yeah. Looking forward to working it. I got a little problem with the bamboo. It's a certain drying process you have to kind of maintain, or else it dries too fast.
So you kind of need to cure it, right? You need to cure it properly or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm curing another stick. Because number 444, I think it's Lorax.
Yes. Yep,
Lorax. He was interested in the little katana, so I haven't forgotten about him.
All right, cool.
But I think I'm gonna have to redo it because it's going to split open. So once I get it fixed, I'm gonna send him another picture, and then I'm gonna ask if he's still interested in it, and work out a deal with him.
Sweet. And what did you think about that user number being sold by the one that Coloriti is looking at purchasing? That's insane. Woo! Big props to Coloriti. Did you hear about that? That she's trying to buy user number 64?
I don't know if she's completed the deal, but she offered and he accepted.
Yeah, they're gonna make that deal.
They were looking for a way to do it.
It sounds like it. They're gonna make it then, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be pretty cool to
I think so. Yeah. It was a guy. He only had two Twetches. he twetched once, like, right in the beginning, and then he came back on. And actually, Kuluriti, she went, she goes back and she does all she looks at Twetches from like, a year ago and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because
Yeah, I
remember she
love
was
that.
blowing up our old art Twetches.
Yep.
And so she went all the way back and found this Twetch that this guy had made, and he hadn't made another one since then. So she just on the spot offered him 1,200, and he said, "Well, that's a really interesting offer. I'm gonna have to think about that." And then she immediately upped it to $2,000, and he said, "Okay, done."
Dude, she is a
And
rare
yeah, it's
Twetcher, dude. She has really taken Twetch to another
For
level
what number?
with the tools that she has. She's gonna be looking at getting, I think, user number 64. User
right.
number 64,
Which
2-digit. I'll
which
look
is
it
a
up here
cool
in a
one
moment.
because that's the I Ching, right? That's the I Ching number.
It reminds me of Nintendo 64, so that's what it reminds me of.
Same thing.
Love
Same
it.
thing.
Yeah, but I think those are like
I
those. It's almost
wouldn't
like
pay.
dominoes,
I wouldn't
right?
get one
I know.
BSV for it.
I know exactly what you're talking
Myself.
about, Manifestable. I've heard about that. It's almost like a fortune telling thing in a way, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
yes, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, they say that actually that it's the I believe that it's the early because basically whenever you only have, how they say that Eskimos have 64 different words for snow. Have you ever heard that term?
No.
Well, basically the concept of it is just like if you live in the snow, you don't just have the word snow for snow, right? Because
Okay.
you have the different types of snow, the wet
Yeah.
snow, the dry snow, the fluffy snow, and so
Yeah.
you have all these different nuances and you understand them all. Well, so the I
Almost like a
Ching
slang, right?
is
In a
like
way, kind of, but not really. Well, no, because it's a
exactly,
different snow.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I hear you.
it's like it's a like an abstraction of time. So I think what the I Ching basically, and that's why you can use it for fortune telling, because it's basically like, there's only so many rubrics for moments, right?
Yep.
Like each moment, like like some moments are a long pause, some moments are a tense moment, like there's only so many types of moments you can have. So the moments depend on these various different intervals between broken and unbroken synchronicity, and they decided that there were 64 of them, and the various different ways in which they overlay and interplay with each other.
Yep.
Basically make up the entirety of time.
Hmm.
So yeah, so 64 is a really symbolic number with historical kind of parallels and
I think
roots.
it's a deal personally. I think it's a great deal. Shoot.
Yeah. I think so too. And
Speaking of that, Andres, can you? I can't access the InTheBox account. So
From where?
will you slash pay from any of my? I can't get on it from. We can talk about it later. About me getting
Yeah.
on, but will you slash pay me $40?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get that for the domains. I still haven't grabbed that.
Yeah, I got you on there right now. I'm gonna finish off these Twetches and I'll just do it from my own account.
Yeah, well, as long as it's coming from the
Yeah.
ITB money, it should come from that, not
Yeah.
you.
No, I'm gonna leave that in there
Awesome.
just in case the BSV goes down. That way we can cover the competition. I just want to make sure we have enough in there for the competition, so I'll do it for my personal. We got President Randy that says, "Believe it or not, I am reading a book about Jesus, mentioned on Twetch by Satan himself. I'm a sucker for irony." And then it says here on the book, it says, "Do you dare believe that Jesus did not die on the cross? That he was Mary's illegitimate son and the heir to Maccabees? That he married Mary Magdalene and Barabbas was their son? That he wrote his own autobiography? That he lived to be 80 years old and died fighting the Romans at Mazada? His remains were finally buried in 1969. And that's crazy. And that the Russians now have the scroll which proves these disclosures and have so informed the Vatican. These disquieting revelations are not meant to be accepted on faith. They are backed by documentary evidence. The Jesus Scroll, the most disturbing book about Christ and Christianity ever published. I've never.
This is the
I
problem
heard
with all
about something
religions.
Go ahead.
Is that we want to get so into the story of the saint or the savior that we don't look into our own hearts. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within. We don't look at our own experience because we're too busy fighting about which God is right.
Yep.
And which, it's ridiculous. And also, one more thing on the Jesus point. I don't know if this relates to this particular post, but I'm getting a lot of Jesus stuff on Twitter, and I just want to say Jesus didn't invent Christianity.
No,
and
he was
so
Jewish.
if you're a Christian and you're a Jesus pusher, he wasn't even. I mean, he was born Jewish, but he was even like he broke all those
rebel.
rules too.
He went against the mainstream churches, or I guess whatever, because
I respect people in their religion.
Off of.
I really don't like any fundamentalists. I just don't like dogmatic people that say this is the only way. This is the only way. My way is the only way. Look, it is the only way for you, but there's how many billion people in the world that they have to believe in your God. And you know what is fascinating to me, and Manifesto can probably back me up on this if he knows the history. But do you know how many the divine births of a virgin in a manger happened? Do you think it just happened once? No, yeah. It's happened throughout history.
No, but it's
thousands
only
of years before
once.
Jesus.
It only mattered once.
And then there's
to the white man.
No, there's many Christians of many different colors. Okay.
Well, no,
but only one Immaculate Conception mattered. Only one.
Only one mattered to
well,
who?
I think what Hunter's saying is just that it's a creation myth, right? Like we use it to symbolize important truths that are important about all of humanity, but we use a figure to represent the truth that's in everyone, and so I think what Hunter's saying is that that like in the in the most recent times we've looked to Jesus for that figure from the that perspective, but there's lots of other stories anecdotally and
Jesus wrote his own
of
autobiography.
very similar
is what I'm reading here. Is that Jesus wrote his own autobiography?
He also created his own Twetchcast. I don't know if you know about that either.
Yeah,
and we buried his remains in 1969. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm troll tolling Randy, dude.
Yeah, it's a summer of love.
I'm troll tolling Randy. Yeah, we buried Randy. Find Jesus. All right, and you're not gonna find him buried in a grave. Let's get on to it. Look at Bender.
This is one more thing.
Fine.
You gotta remember that one thing that Randy and Eloy's the master of it, but Randy does it too. So what they do, one of the marketing techniques that they use to get such a big following way before Twetch was you say offlandish random stuff to get people to react.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah, he got me.
You say communists are coming, and look at he got you so riled up. You're troll trolling him, and you're gonna do let's talk about this.
Troll me, Randy.
It's brilliant.
Jesus died on the cross for your sins. All right. The only Immaculate Conception that mattered. Just remember that.
Right? We need to take a lesson from that. I like to say Krishna was the only Immaculate. He was also an Immaculate Conception way before Jesus. Way before Jesus, man. There was another Immaculate Conception by a Mosiah named Krishna, and this whole country, or at least 80% or 70%, Hinduism is one of the biggest religions in the world.
I love
they believe
Hinduism.
that's the only.
I mean, I'm sorry, not Hinduism. Buddhism.
I'm not a Hinduist, but I'm just saying that. Buddhism. And if you go to some place in Africa, they're going to also have a Messiah that was born in a village.
But there's only one that mattered, and that was Jesus.
One thing that's great about being in a different land is that you are less invested in their creation myth, so you get to appreciate it for what it is in a way. Like because you're not sitting there trying to kill someone
That's
because they
true.
don't believe that Hinduism
Yeah,
is more
true.
valid than Christianity. You just get to appreciate the meaning that it has and carries for so many people, you know, and that
So true.
if we
So
could
true.
do that about all of our own feelings and beliefs, like I feel like we would have more friendships, you know, like because we would have less to fight about.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
should all
Jesus did
just sit
say, "Love
around a
you, love your neighbor."
yes,
If he's a
100.
Christian, right? Jesus said, "Love
Yeah.
your neighbor," but only
Well,
if he's a
that
Christian.
yeah, well
Yeah.
that's a commandment that was brought down from Mount.
Yeah, but there was no Christianity. He didn't mean
No,
only if you believe in me. He said
No,
anybody,
Jesus
right?
said, "Blessed are the cheesemakers."
and those come from Wisconsin, right?
Blessed
Yeah,
are
do you
the
remember that from The
Twetchers.
Life of Brian when they're standing in the back of the Sermon on the Mount and they can't quite hear what he's saying, and they're and there's a guy that's standing up front and he's going like, he said, "Blessed are the cheesemakers,"
The
and the guy says, "Well, I
cheesemakers.
don't think he means every cheesemaker. He means basically any producer of dairy products."
Ah, okay.
And they're like they're having a debate right there, right in front of them, about what he actually said, you know, and they're getting it wrong.
Well, we never get it wrong here on InTheBox, and that's why you're watching us right now.
That's right.
I love the conversation, man. It's healthy to be able to, like, me and Andres learned about it real quick when we started this whole in the box thing off, because what we realized right off the bat was that I thought Trump was an idiot, and Andres thought he was the smartest guy in the world. So we
I mean,
really
still
got
do.
to, and the other thing we knew was that our relationship between us meant way more than our
Oh
politics
yeah, dude.
or what
Yeah,
we
Right.
thought was right.
yeah.
Right.
100%.
And so that's called healthy
100%.
conversation, that you don't take too,
But there's
you
no
don't
other
take it.
place where that exists.
And it's
You know,
funny
there's no
It's
other
true.
show where you have love between two people that share divergent
so
views. The
different
whole
of
concept of shows is to make you guys hate each other so that it can become like, oh, which side are you on? Who's actually right? You know what I mean? Instead of
yeah.
just
No, it doesn't
realizing the
have to be about
ridiculousness of the
that.
whole thing.
It doesn't have to be about that,
Yeah,
right? And what's really
exactly.
messed up is
Exactly.
that there's people in real life that are losing relationships with family members and friends, and even look, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's affected me in my personal life, but I because the other person was so crazy about it, and it's weird because I have the same conversation with Hunter, and we laugh. We laugh at the end, and you know, we understand both of our hearts are in a good place, and that regardless what his opinion is, what my opinion is, in the end, we're both human. We both understand we have different opinions, but we're, we finish it off with a, love you, brother. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. You know?
Right. Well, because you guys don't, you know, are you familiar with Kahil Gibran?
No, no.
Yeah, the
Okay.
prophet.
Well, yeah, the prophet. So Kahil Gibran is a Lebanese author, and he has this book. It's called The Prophet. If anyone that's listening right now, if you haven't got a chance to take a look at The Prophet, just take a look at it. It's such a short book. It's like 50 pages or something like this. But he talks on all these different subjects, and there's a chapter on it called Friendship, and he says, he answered, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field with which you sow love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and fireside. You come to him with your hunger, you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor would you withhold the a."
Hmm.
And he says the specific line that I was looking for is this one. He says, "Let your best be for your friend, because if he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood as well. For it is your friend that you should seek with our for what is your friend that you would seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live." I just love that line, you know, like why would you try to kill time with your friend? You know, like live time with your friend. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what you guys do. That's why you don't make it about like you squash the beef. You know, like
Oh, yeah.
if you
No,
guys
and there's
disagree
no
about
there
something,
never even is
it's
a
not.
beef to start off with, right? I mean, we're just bigger than that.
Yeah.
Just have a
Right.
good conversation. But
Well, the reality is too, if Andres is in a bind, I'm a lot more likely to come to his rescue and try to help him than somebody that's just his political friend, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
somebody
that's
that
for
agrees with
sure,
him,
dude.
because we both like this. But if you're real friends with them, somebody it's like family, you don't care what their views are. You know, you notice
Right.
like if people have kids that were anti-gay or something, and then their kid ends up to say, "Hey, I'm gay," they're hit
They
with a
have to
wake-up
change
call.
it.
You know, they
Yeah.
gotta say, "Oh
Or
my God."
one of the things that bothers me so much is like, people that grow up and they have this feeling like, oh, I can't hug my son, because that's gay. Like there's so many people that live a life where like their father is like refuses to touch them or something like that, like even in just like in like a nice like pat on the back or a hug or something, and it's
Yeah,
like,
that
oh, I
every
could never
human
do
needs
that.
that, right?
Like I don't want to create homosexual tendencies in my son. It's like your son's not going to want to
No.
become gay just because you gave him a hug, like but
Yeah, that's
like,
some
there's just
archaic thinking, right?
right. And it's like it's the people that are, like it's upon each person to, like Daniel always says, it's your responsibility to know what's valuable. It's your responsibility to know what Bitcoin is. Like it's your responsibility to not perpetuate that cycle just because it happened to you. Like a lot of people do things just because it happened to them, right? Like a lot of sexual predators and stuff, they become sexual predators because that's what happened to them. But the real struggle of each human being is about confronting what exists in their heart, even if it's despair and sorrow and like sadness, and letting it go like a bird in the sky, because it's like that's not good. You can carry that around with you if you want,
Yep.
but all you're going to do is give it to someone else that's your son, and they're going to carry it around, and they're not going to hug their son. Like, but it's you have the power to release what doesn't work anymore for you, and that's it's hard to do. It requires
Yep.
intense introspection because you can very easily trick yourself. You're designed to trick yourself. Um, you're designed to think that think that what other people say is valuable instead of what you feel and what you think. So you won't value your opinion unless other people like, you know, give you positive feedback about it. And then, like you think, oh, I'm on the right path. But really you're getting suckered into thinking things that other people want you to think instead of following what's actually true in your own heart.
Yeah, and that's why parenting is such an important job, because you're the first, like we were talking about this last time I was on
Yeah, it all starts in the home.
with Customized and Andres, is
Right.
how the racism in this world, and specifically in America, has come from old generations that pass it on to their kids and pass it on to their kids. And I was saying how my grandpa was racist in a way. He wasn't super bad, but he'd say subtle stuff.
Right.
And my sister would call him out on it when he'd say anything and be like, "I'm not sitting at the table with this old racist man. You're," as a
Right.
little girl, she was just like, "This dude," and my mom would back her up, right? So I could
Right.
see how generations it changed. My sister's married to a black man now and has, a couple kids, and they're super happy. And you see how every generation, from the parenting and how people are raised, if they're raised in like, in a household that doesn't have that, because we shape our kids. Of course, they have their own heads on their shoulders, and they're going to end up going their own way. I mean, I'm around Amma, and a lot of the kids around here already know Sanskrit, Malayalam. They know how to play the tabla at 6 years old. They're studying classical Indian dance, and of course, their environment's going to have some effect. They know Vedanta. They're taking Vedanta classes at 10 years old. You know what I mean?
Sure.
This is, and
Absolutely.
not that they're gonna wake up and that's gonna They might go out in the world and become a stripper. We don't know what's going to happen, but the reality is this education that we give our children, and all children, not just ours, but is the next generation of wisdom. That's why we need to be planting our trees for our kids 7 years ago, right? We need to be planting the seed, and if we didn't, we need to plant them now. And those seeds are whatever. The metaphor of a tree is also the ideas of inclusion and of love of all people and all religions and all races and all diversities. So thank you to all you parents out there that are doing that, because it's going to save the world.
Yeah, and you know, there's something that you said about, like, you know, let's just say that this person is raised as a youngster in a supportive environment, and then all of a sudden they might decide that they want to become a stripper or something like that. But if you've given all of your love and care, and you've tried, you know, like, you've given all of your you know, the best of your abilities as a parent to that child, and then they decide to do something that's fulfilling to themselves, one of the last things that you can do, the last gift that you can do, is just give, like, permission, you know, like, to just, like, you aren't going to be able to control your kids, you know, every single decision. And the more effort and time that you've put into trying to manipulate their world so that they become the exact type of person that you want them to become, is the more things that you are creating for them to break down. But when they realize that there's nothing for them to break down, and that you'll love them for who they are, even if they decide to become a stripper, then you've given them really the greatest gift of all, which is just to be, you know, to be, like, to have really touched their spirit, where, like, they can't, you know, my mom always used to say, when you love someone, and this was true, this is what you were talking about with, in terms of you and Andres talking on the phone, and, you know, and being real with each other, but also having it be deeper than that, is, like, my mom used to say, you love someone not because of who they are, but in spite of it. You know,
Yep.
like, real love is not just.
That's beautiful, bro. That's real beautiful. I love that.
And on that, we got any final thoughts going into this? We've been going hard today. Today was good. 3 hours,
I mean,
15 minutes, dude.
that sounded like a mic drop moment right there.
Right?
You want to repeat that, Manifestival?
Shit. Manny, you still there? He keeps getting cut in and out. I'm gonna see if he makes it back in here.
He said his mom used to tell him, what did she say? Instead of loving people for what they are, you love them in spite of what they are. I believe that was it. So that means they can be any way they want to be.
That sounds like a golden 2-cent Twetch right there. Mad profits on a Twetch like that. But we will be back tomorrow, 11 p.m. Put any Twetch links you want in the Discord. Tag us on Twetch. Follow us on Library. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube yet, subscribe. We're about to hit 400 subscribers. We smashed 400, Hunter, on Twetch the other day. And we're at, like, almost 420 followers right now on Twetch. Big shout.
Really? 420. Yeah. I like that number.
I think we're at 418. Martin Adamo gave us a little follow live here while we were on with Cosmos. Big shout out to Cosmos. Thank you for coming on Mondays. It's been really big for us. He's always you always walk away smarter from that conversation. He is really good at putting things together, making it very understandable. And thank you to everybody that's been here the entire time. If you haven't smashed like yet, smash like. Let's do this. Hunter, I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I did the /pay from InTheBox, so I'm just gonna send it back from mine. So you should have that
it,
there.
Man, and I always love jumping in, and I want to say, thanks for keeping it steady and always being there, man. I always say you're my president, bro.
Oh, dude, even if I have to do a 2-hour monologue, that's what I'll do. I'm gonna make sure we upload every day. I don't care. And I'm gonna put out a link here soon for the live stream tomorrow, 11 p.m. Everybody, check that out tomorrow. Come back with us. We're gonna have a good time. Maybe I'll do some live Pepe drawing on air, a new Pepe drawer. Customized. You there, brother? Can you hear me? You're welcome, Daniel. I love you, brother. I always enjoy having you on here. I wish you were on here 5 days a week with us. Customized, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah.
What are you doing tomorrow? 11 p.m. Eastern time.
I'll probably be here.
All right, good.
Hey, take care of yourself. Stay healthy, man. Drink lots of water and take some vitamin C and make sure you know take care of yourself. All right, all right.
Manifest
guide from the doctor. Some.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sorry. I think that maybe my microphone has been cutting out. I'm not sure if I was.
Yeah, you're back now. You sound great, but when you leave, it like just drops. You sound good the entire way, and then it just drops. But what are you doing tomorrow, brother? You gonna be around 11 p.m. Eastern time, or are you going to work tomorrow? What's going on?
I do have work. Yeah, I'm getting back on the work wagon, but I'll do my best to either tune in, if possible, maybe jump in if I have a free moment.
I've been doing it from InTheBox, so to everybody that's in the chat up until right now, if you enjoy what you see and you want to be part of the conversation, join us on our Discord. You could jump on InTheBox. Anybody could jump on. As you see, Customize always jumps on, Manifestable, and we love when our viewers jump on with us. We love everybody's opinion. It's a huge community. Smash like, subscribe. We will be back tomorrow. 2 hours tomorrow. We've been going strong for like 3 hours and 20 minutes. Love all you guys. Manifestable, I love you, brother. Hunter, I love you, brother.
You too.
Great to see you guys.
I love you, my brother.
Take care of yourself.
We're gonna end the stream right here.
Yeah, enjoy.
Come back tomorrow. I'm gonna drop the link soon. I'm gonna edit the description on this, so by tomorrow I'm gonna try to put all the videos that I promised to put in there. I'll have it done by tomorrow. I'm gonna get on some gaming right now. You've been watching InTheBox, episode number 29. Love you guys. See you tomorrow, same time. Peace. Wie geht's, Alter? Alles gut?
All's good.
Yeah, I cut the stream here.
Yes.
It should be ending. I'm listening to it right now. Come back tomorrow. I'm gonna drop the link soon. I'm gonna edit the description on this, so by tomorrow I'm gonna try to put all the videos that I promised to put in there. I'll have it done by tomorrow. I'm gonna get on some gaming right now. You've been watching InTheBox, episode number 29. Love you guys. See you tomorrow, same time. Peace.